Hello and welcome to episode 101 of the Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host Darren Whittam, and joining me this week is the other Spark on the pod, here to benevolently guide us wisely through the world of video games and frankly whatever else may come to his mind. It's the one, the only, the tech-loving Anthony, a gadget a day keeps the sad face away, Chesson.
Oh, that must be why I'm so happy then. It's the gadgets.
It's the gadgets.
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad at all. Yes, that's good. It's good to be potty. We are now 101. We got into triple digits last week, and now we're just kind of now it's a what do they call it when it's the same forward and back? It's a
palindrome.
There you go.
Oh wow! Hey. Yeah, but you must be impressed with that.
I have indeed. It was at the tip of my brain, but it just wasn't coming. So how are you, sir? How's your week been?
Yeah, I'm good. Wow, Pod 101. It's just good to say, isn't it? Pod 101.
It is.
Pod 101. Yeah, it's cool. What have I been up to? What have I been doing this week? Oh, this is quite good. You know about this. So I didn't really mention it on the pod last week because I hadn't heard anything. But to kind of get something together to celebrate our 100th episode, as you know, I don't mind taking a chance. Well, it's not really a chance, but just being cheeky and just writing to people. I emailed Phil Spencer to see if he wanted to guest on the show, as he's an avid listener, as everyone will know that's listening. And when we got to the time of the pod, I hadn't got anything back, you know, and that was fine. I didn't expect anything really. But after recording, I think it was about, 11 that night or something, I checked my email and got an email from Mr. Spencer, or one of his aides anyway. And I was like, classic. And this has got to be the nicest decline I've ever read. It's the best. It's the best get lost I've ever read. So I thought I'd read it out. And it's just such a shame it didn't come in just a few hours before, because we could have read it last week. But I basically said something along the lines of, "Please, Phil, come and join us. We've been doing this podcast, and we're really positive about everything, or try to be. We've got a good, come and join us. It'd be amazing, even if it's just for 10 minutes, And anyway, this is the reply I got. Hi, Darren. Please never, ever email Mr. Spencer directly again." No, I'm only joking. Hi, Darren. Phil passed on your request for him to guest on the 100th episode of Gamers of the Lost Spark. We looked over Phil's schedule and tried to make it work, but are unable to accommodate your request. He appreciates your approach to focus on gaming with a positive outlook for all ages, but he just isn't available, especially with getting the Xbox One X out of the door, and that has completely jammed up his schedule. Thank you for your understanding. Hope you have a great day, and keep up the good work.
Nice.
Brilliant, isn't it?
It's just so cool. It is just, like you say, it's the nicest thanks but no thanks email, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to use it as a template. for future thanks but no thanks. I think that's brilliant. It's like, really appreciate that you're writing in, love what you're saying. Unfortunately we can't do it, but keep it up. Really good.
Yeah.
But you never know, one day I'm going to reply to that though. I'm going to reply. I've just got to think. I'm going to think very carefully about how I'll word my reply. I'm going to leave an open-ended invite there that I'm sure will get taken up one day. You think that's right, don't you? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, maybe we'll collaborate on the reply. So that was really nice. And then had a rock band evening on Saturday night, playing Beatles Rock Band on the 360. There we were, like the Partridge Family. Me, Claire, and Sam was on drums.
Excellent.
And that was awesome. And he was really enjoying it. And he can hit the notes, and it just felt great. It really felt great. And then we decided we'd had enough Beatles and we'd switch over to Rock Band 4, which is on. So we're playing Beatles Rock Band on 360. So I've actually, because of that, I've set it up with my consoles now. It's been promoted to the console shelf. So it was off the console shelf, now it's back on the console shelf, all wired up and everything. So then it was like, right, okay. That was right. And first of all, that was funny. We started playing it. And so we were all ready, started the tune, and then the notes started falling down the screen, and me and Claire just went, fail. And we were like, what's going on? And we were both like, it's out. It's the sync's out. It sync's out. Why? I was like, well, I've rewired it. It's not going directly into the TV anymore. It's going through the amp and then from the amp to the TV. But then I was like, but it's always been fine before. This is really weird. So anyway, you know what it's like? It's like a massive troubleshoot because it was unplayable like that. So the game comes with a configuration option. So we did this configuration thing where you hold the guitar up to the TV and it sort of flashes a strobe light. And it works out if there's any lag.
Yeah.
Then you can strum to sort of a beat, like a metronome. And you strum to it. And we tried that and it still wasn't right. And I was really, really just racking my brains. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. Because when it was kind of right, it was said that we had loads of lag, which we shouldn't have had. And we could actually see judder on the notes, which we'd never seen before. It was as if by trying to slow the beats down, it was sort of amending the notes. I've never had that before. And I was like thinking, this is ruining I can't play it like this. I don't like it because there's something wrong and I can't put my finger on it. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, hold on a minute. Because I rewired it, I changed the input. I wonder if game mode isn't on the TV. Because game mode was on. And I was like, so I checked the input and game mode was switched off. I was like, I wonder if that's it. So I switched game mode on the input for it that I got the 360 running through. And then I basically turned off, reset that calibration thing that I'd done to just the defaults. Guess what? Just worked.
Wow.
And I was like, why does that have to be the last thing I thought of? After it'd take this like half an hour. And I was like, oh, okay, that's because I switched the inputs. And then so I went through all my other inputs then and made sure that game mode doesn't. I can't. It's weird because I can feel the difference playing games if game mode's off. But and it does give a warning. It says warning with game mode on, things might not look as good. I can't see a difference, but I can feel a difference. So that was good. That was sorted. But then we got one more problem because we sort of had enough of Beatles Rock Band and we thought let's play Rock Band 4 because there's a couple of tunes we wanted to play on that. So we switched the Xbox 360 off and we switched the Xbox One S on, booted up Rock Band 4, and then started to turn our guitars on. Plugged in the little adapter, and I was like, right, come on, I'll turn mine on. Got one light. Claire turned hers on. Just one light. Sam turned his drums on. Still just one light. And I was like, that should be 3 lights, surely. And Claire was like, that should be 3 lights. And I was like, well, maybe it's changed. Maybe they're all hooking through the one light. But then we were trying to play our instruments or start the game and nothing worked.
Right.
And then I was like, I tell you, man, it's every time there's something. And I was like, what's going on with this now? And I was still a little bit rattled from having to do an whole blooming root cause analysis on the last thing. So I was looking around and I was like, this is really weird. What's going on? So then me and Claire were like, well, it can't be this. And like Claire was like, what about this? I was like, it's not this. And, sort of being a bit snappy and stuff because losing my patience. And then I looked round to look at the Xbox One S and the little adapter. And there above it, in all its glory, was the 360 with 3 green lights on it. All of a sudden I got clarity. I was like, what we've done is because the instruments were all paired to the 360, when we turned them on to try and connect to the Xbox One S, they'd basically just turned the 360 on, but we don't know that because we're not looking at that input. And what he's doing is, like, so I had to rip the power out of the 360 to then pair them to the Xbox One S, and then we were okay.
Wow. And by that time, all that button pressing, trying to get those controllers to be activated, you probably bought everything on the Xbox 360 store.
Just gone through the store. Oh, mate! So that was wow. It wasn't anyone's fault. It was just a pain, and it was just because I reconfigured and reset everything up in a different way. But I was like, I felt so silly. I saw those 3 lights on the 360. I was like, of course. But I'm not used to it. It's not something we've ever done before. I don't think he's gone from one game to the other.
Right.
So I did that. That was good fun.
It's always the way, isn't it? It's always the way with like technology that when you just like grab the controller and just sit down and play, it's fine. Technology is fine. But the moment you've got other people in the room and it's like you've got like an hour or you want to have a serious game, then there's always like a spanner comes in the works. There's always like can't get an input to go or something. And it's always, I find that's always the kind of sod's law, I think. It's
always party games. Always when you've got a gathering, and always when it's quite imperative that you want it just to flow.
Yeah. Normally it's easy. Normally I just press this button and it's all there.
Well, last week. Like, it was fine. I say this to Claire before, like she said that the guitar's not working, and I've been like, and then she won't be there, and I'll just say, right, I'll test this. I said I'd test it for her, so I'll test it, and I'll pick it up and I'll like press start on the guitar or whatever, and it just turns the Xbox on, and everything works perfectly. And then you try it on the night you're trying to have the game, and it goes back to not working, and you're just like, why? But at least this time there was reasons. I could understand the game mode thing. And I could understand when I finally twigged that the Xbox 360 was... And that made perfect sense. It was like, why didn't I think of that? But yeah, that was good fun. I probably didn't have to pull the power out. I could have just pressed the syncy button on the instruments, couldn't I? And then synced it with the Xbox One S. But yeah, that was... out of a Rock Band evening, it was a couple of hours. About an hour of it was doing that. No fault of anybody's except mine for just not being aware. What a nightmare. So... that's probably everything of note for me. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, this week is quite interesting because I got another new TV. So I got a second TV for the living room.
I thought this was one for the bathroom.
No, yeah,
that was in the post, is it?
That's next. Yeah, I've ordered that one. So I need to get special
one for the cupboard under the stairs.
Yeah. So I've bought another TV. So I had to do a bit of kind of jiggering around and just kind of trying to figure out what size to go into the living room. Because a very long story short was that during the weather that happened last week, the movie room, so my movie room where Nicola and I game, got flooded. So we got flooded, and the room is an absolute wreck at the moment. So we can't use the movie room at the moment. You know, there's no floors. It's all just kind of there's a giant dehumidifier at the moment where the company, the kind of recovery company, kind of brought out a giant humidifier and stuff. So the movie room's an absolute write off at the moment. So we went up to the living room. So we went upstairs to the living room, and we were sitting there for like it happened. It happened 2 weeks today. So we were sitting there for a week, and Nicola was like, that TV's too small. You know, and it's quite funny because when Stuart, kind of my friend from Just Had Popcorn, when he kind of came around and set it all up, the Sonos and the TV, and it was an existing TV that he helped kind of, he mounted on the wall, and he was like, yeah, it won't be long until you get a new one of those, a new TV. And so we were there for like about a week, and just looking at this. We've had the TV for a while, but it's just been there. We don't really use that room. So a week of like sitting on the sofa watching TV. Nicola started saying, she goes, that TV's too small. She goes, and she was like, and we watched a movie called The Circle on Netflix, and she was like, why doesn't it pop? You know, why isn't it as bright as downstairs? I said, well, because downstairs we were watching it in HDR, and it was 4K, and so I turned the brightness up, and she was like, oh no, and we were really kind of just not liking this TV, and it was so Nicola went, we need to get a new TV, and of course, you know, that never happens in my life, you know, that no. Nicola would say, right, you got to get a new TV.
It's a rare thing.
So I was like, right, I got my mood board out. I was like, which TV would you like? So we then started thinking, you know, because we have a movie room, we didn't want to go too big. So it was like, do you want a 49? I said the two sizes that we can have is a 49 or a 55. So for me, the 55 was the one that I wanted because that meant I could jump to an OLED, a 4K OLED. So I had the Sony A1 4K OLED if the 55 got a thumbs up, but then it was and then I had a 4K LCD if the 49. So what I did was, it was hilarious. You'll love this. I created some templates out of paper. So where we've been like wrapping everything up and storing everything while we've been DIYing the kitchen and the movie and packing away the movie room, we've got lots of paper. So I made templates as to the size of the screen.
Brilliant.
So because Nicola was like, she goes, 49 seems right, but 55 could be good. And at one point she went, go for the 55, and I was like, right. And she went, but maybe the 49, the 50, we don't want another movie. And then it was just so, it was like backwards and forwards. And we went to John Lewis. I was speaking to Stuart as well, and kind of going through all of that. Went to John Lewis and just showed her some of the TVs. And she was like, well, the 49 looks too small, but the 55 is too big. And I was like, what are you, Goldilocks? You know, I was just like, come on, give me a bone here. So,
she needs a 52, it's just right.
Well, exactly. There was a Panasonic that was a 50-inch, but I didn't like the picture on the Panasonic. So what I did was I created two templates. So two big sellotaped lots of paper together to make the size of the 49, and then held it up to our TV. And this wasn't quite right. So what I did was I took it down, and then I drew the size of the current TV. So I drew a kind of a square in the middle. So I was like, right, this is what you have. This is what we could have. And so there was lots of that, and it really, really made us both chuckle, kind of how stupid we were being. But so we ended up going for the 49. So unfortunately, I didn't get, which I was okay with, because as much as I want the OLED, I'd prefer to have that maybe downstairs, the 65 version.
This is it. You can bank this now, can't you? That you made a concession on this OLED business with the 49, and if you're going to make it, you make it on that screen.
Yes,
and then you got that in your back pocket ready for downstairs.
Absolutely. I mean, I must admit, what I bought the Sony, I bought the KD49XE9005, which is the 2017 4K HDR LCD TV, and the picture is stunning. We watched Kong Skull Island with a 4K Blu-ray, because what I've done is I've brought the Xbox One S up from the movie room. That's currently in the living room. So we have that, as well as a Switch is connected to it as well. So so we watched that, and that was just stunning, and it was really interesting, because for one of the first times Nicola looked at me, she went, "That picture is amazing." And the picture, I have to say, and I have to kind of tip my hat and thank, which I have done on Twitter, the guys from AV Forums, because AV Forums, a fantastic site if you like anything AV, but they basically had the optimum settings. So they did all that professional calibration for this TV, and they took you through a daytime mode, a nighttime mode, a gaming mode, and then gaming HDR and movie HDR. So I went through all of those settings on Saturday, spent the entire day. My poor wife was tiling while I was playing with a TV.
Well, these things have got to be done.
Well, exactly. You can't, and that's it, because I've done this once before. When I got my first Panasonic 3D TV, I got it from where did I get it from? Audio T. So I got it from Audio T. The guys from Audio T, they brought it to the house, and I was so ecstatic about this Panasonic Plasma. It was 3D, we had a free version of Avatar, all of that sort of stuff. And then so I stuck on Toy Story 3. I said, "Watch this, Nicola, this is just amazing, this is going to blow your mind." And she went, "Oh my god, that picture's terrible, what have you done? I can't believe you've bought a TV like this." And this is obviously, when you kind of out of the shop, when you just say turn on the TV and just go for the normal mode, it's oversaturated, it's too vivid, it's horrible. So I kind of went through AV. So before Nicola even saw anything on this TV, I went through AV Forum settings, and it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I was talking to you just before we podded. Nicola hadn't seen it, but I'd seen it before, so we rewatched Hunt for the Wilder People, which is an amazing movie. It's a Hunt for the Wilder People, which is a kind of a movie set in the New Zealand outback. And even though it was just 1080p on Netflix, it's available at the moment on Netflix, and I highly recommend anyone who wants a chuckle watch Hunt for the Wilder People. And it just looks stunning. Nicola kept saying, "Wow." She goes, "That looks amazing." I was like, "That's only 1080p. You wait till I'll show you some HDR content." And and it was absolutely fantastic. So the settings. So I'd highly recommend anyone who has any kind of HDR 4K TV to go onto AV Forums, search for your model, and there normally is an article by Steve Withers, a YouTube video, and he takes you through all of the settings, because the settings are just incredible. There are even just the game mode that I'm playing at the moment, there are settings that I wouldn't have set, but when I was playing Forza Horizon, go to game to see if this thing can pack a punch.
It so well, so you'll definitely be able to tell the difference.
Exactly, because I was having a problem with getting HDR to play at one point, just because I had to find the right input, etc. And I was like, hold up a second, that's not HDR, and it was, but
it's funny, I can notice that too as well now. It's great, isn't it? Got your HDR in.
Yeah, exactly, especially in Forza, because the oranges are so orange, aren't they? It just is like, and so I was like, hold up. But going through and playing the game based on the AV Forum settings, it's stunning. It's like I've had my TV professionally calibrated, and it was just, I didn't deviate from it at all, and it was absolutely superb.
Wow, that's such a great tip for everybody listening as well to get that done. Oh man, I haven't done that actually with mine, but maybe I should. Maybe I should sit there and go through the settings.
It's quite funny actually, because last night we were watching Kong Skull Island, and I watched Game of Thrones as well, and oh god, Game of Thrones looked stunning. It looked absolutely superb. Maybe it's just like a couple of weeks with just a normal TV. My eyes.
This is the thing, because you've gone back. You've got this appreciation now, haven't you? I quite like that.
Where before I was just blasé about 4K, and it's like, but yeah. So we watched Skull Island, and I just said to Nicola, "There's one bit where they first meet Kong," so we watched it in like 4K HDR, and I was like, watch this, and I just put it to the normal mode, which is the default Sadie mode, and she was like, oh my god, turn that off now, because it was just, the movement was weird, it was too bright, it was too, so it was just absolutely superb just to kind of go there, and it looks like when you go to John Lewis or when you go to any of those stores and they have it so bright and almost fake looking, that when you kind of put it in the proper kind of Cinema Pro mode and all of that, it just looks so much nicer, and it was really funny just being able to kind of jump between the two.
That's brilliant. You mentioned that there was like 3 or 4 different configurations there, like you got one for game, one for movie HDR, etc.
Yes.
So can you? Is that using your like Harmony remote, or is that something on the TV remote to be able to easily switch between those different settings?
Yes, absolutely. On the, I'm not using the Harmony because the Harmony's down in the movie room. So,
of course, it's stopping wet, is it?
No, it's fine. It was one of the things I had my eye on if the water level got too high.
It's like Titanic, you're going to dive in the water and swim across.
It was really funny because there's like a graphic novel down in my movie room called Zenith, and it's the complete Zenith. It was my favourite comic book of all time, and it took ages for this to come out in completion, in a complete state. And when they did, I managed to buy one of them. It's now come out as digitally, and it's also available kind of, in different parts, but they brought it out complete state. It was a collector's edition. It was like one of 1,000, and it was really funny when the water started pouring into the movie room. That was the one thing that I had my eye on. I was like, I'm not going to lose that, I'm not going to, because I've got like number 56 of 1,000, so it's a below 100, and it's quite sought after. I was like, I'm not losing that. When the water started gushing in through the window and everything, I was like, no, I'm not going to lose Zenith, like the rest I can replace, but I can't replace that.
Yeah, don't worry about me, Nicola. But if anything happens, get that comic first.
Yeah, I'll be drowning with my head up high.
She throws you a rope and you tie it round it. You tie it round Zenith and she holds it over.
Just give me a plastic bag. Give me a plastic. All I do is I press on the Sony remote, you just press action, go to picture, and then because I've pre-configured, I've got there's movie mode and movie pro. So movie mode is daytime, movie pro is nighttime, and then I've got game, and then when it detects HDR, it goes to game HDR.
Cool.
And it is just, like I say, they take you through all of. So all I was doing as I was watching this YouTube clip, I was just taking screenshots on my iPad of each screen, and then so I listened to what Steve Withers had to say, went through it, taking screenshots all the way through, and then just calibrated my my TV that way.
Awesome. And then you had a lovely day.
And then
that's Bill Withers. Sorry.
Yeah, that was, so he's dead. So no, it was so good, to then just look at that screen and go, wow.
No, that's well worth the time. Can you save that? Or if your TV reset, I suppose you'd have to do it again, wouldn't you?
Yeah, only if my TV if I had to factory reset my TV, which I don't know why I would have to do that, but if I had to factory reset, then I'd have to do that, but otherwise it's fine.
And I suppose because it's a Sony, I presume the interface, you're used to it already from your other TV.
Yes, it's exactly the same.
So that's a bonus. Like if you'd got a different make, you'd have been like wading through the unknown, thinking, what's this do, what's that? Well, I suppose you'd just still follow the steps on AV forums though, so it'd been okay. I feel a bit, I just feel a bit subpar that I haven't done this. I've sort of tweaked about with my own stuff as something's annoyed me, I've tweaked it, since I've had it, and I'm sort of happy with it. And it's kind of like that I daren't change it because I know everything's working. But I suppose it's only colour tweaks. I might have to look at my model.
Yeah, it's coloured with this one, with this model that I got. It was colour tweaks. It was some of the settings, like the motion settings, like right, okay, you're turning that off. And there was also that they were saying that the kind of out of the box, the Sonys were kind of favouring blue. So I was actually going down to the RGB settings and actually kind of taking some of the blue down. So it was really cool when you were kind of looking at like colour saturation and colour temperature. So it was really cool. I'm sure Stuart Just Air Popcorn's going to give me a job now because I'm a professional now. So I was like, there was some of the motion flow and some of the gradation and all of that. It was really kind of getting nitty gritty with it. And my problem is, and I do like doing this with AV forums, because my problem is when I get a new TV, you're used to seeing what you've just seen in John Lewis or Curry's or wherever you got your TV from, which is this bright picture. And whenever you go back, you see this bright, vivid picture that is unrealistically moving, but you think, is that what my TV doesn't look like that? Have I done it wrong? And I'm forever, before I found all of these settings on AV forums, I'm forever thinking about, have I set my TV up right? And it sometimes, when I get a new TV, would drive me to distraction. So just having someone like AV forums, like this chap, it's really good just to kind of go, this is what I recommend. So like I say, I don't know if Stuart knows anyone, but I don't know anyone who kind of come around and professionally kind of calibrates TVs. So this is as close as I can get, and it just gives me a nice little kind of professional hug that that picture's how it should be.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. The one thing that worries me is sometimes, I haven't done this, so it's just complete conjecture. Mm-hmm. But I always think that if I start on this road, it's going to look too not bright enough. Yes, you know what I mean? It's gonna look dull or something. Like if I put the movie mode on, it instantly dulls the screen, and I kind of like the way I've got it at the moment. So I have the same setting for everything. So maybe I'm a bit weird. But then there's a caveat as well that there is a right and a wrong way to a degree. But then there's also, it's just if you're happy with it. But I wish there was a way to save your settings and then tinker and then just resume them.
Well, what I do before I do that, so when I kind of had my TV downstairs, Stuart and I were mucking around when he installed it, and then what I did was I took a screenshot. So I just basically took some photos on my phone, and
of each settings page.
Yeah, of each setting of how I had it, and then I went to AV forums and did it, and then when I was like, actually, AV forums has got it, that's it. I don't need those. I just deleted those things. But they're and it's I'm saying that this with conviction because it works for me and it makes me feel happy, but it is just so subjective. If you like it bright, if you like that motion flow on, if you're okay with that, then all power to you, because that's exactly how you should have it. That TV, that screen should make you happy. It's not like, well, someone's told me I need to do this, so I've got to hate my picture. It's just that Nicola and I don't like that kind of fake look to it. And sometimes I do go, well, I'll just turn it up a little bit brighter, or put the backlight just a little bit higher.
If you're playing Rhyme.
Yeah, exactly. And the game mode is, the game mode and game HDR, that's completely, there's a mode on my TV called graphics, and I put something on the graphics mode. Ukulele. So just because ukulele is nice and bright and colourful, so I put that and I put it on graphics mode, and I was like, when that patch comes out for ukulele to make it a better game, I might just stick it on graphics mode, just like play that.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's awesome, man. I will, like I say, it's no hardship to take a picture of the settings. I might have a tinker.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good couple of hours just messing around with it, especially if you're a bit of a tech gadget like you, a tech fiend like you and I. It's nice to have a play around. It's
great to get under the bonnet and just drill deeper into the settings. You go, I've never seen this one. Or there's settings that I might not have touched because I don't actually know what they do, and it'd be quite nice to just have a fiddle, yes. And then hear, listen to the guy saying we're changing this for this reason, and then seeing the end result. Yeah, it's cool. It's a good thing, and I presume they've got that's a big forum, isn't it? So I presume they've got loads of TVs covered.
they really do. You know, they kind of, you know, I will presume to say that they have a lot of the kind of, you know, the models that we've got. They've got my TV downstairs, a 2016 model. They've got my new TV 2017. You know, they've got everything in between kind of covered, and they've been doing this for a while, so they don't delete them, and they're just available on YouTube. But they're really cool. I'll stick a link to my one in the show notes just in case anyone's interested. But it's really cool. I mean, I wish there was, and it would be harder. The place that I fall down and would love, you know, again, like professional help, is sound. Because I still don't think after all this time that I've calibrated my movie room's surround sound properly to how I want it. Because, you know, there's always that bit where you've kind of got it at a nice level, it sounds great, and then suddenly a gun goes off or music comes in and it's too loud, you know. I mean, luckily the Denon, the receiver that I've got, does a bit of that, you know, it takes it down, but to the point sometimes it actually, I feel like it's cutting something out, you know. So there was like, we was watching a movie that was soundtrack heavy and there was a gun going off at the same time and you couldn't hear the sound, you know. It was that sort of, so that's the one thing that, you know, where I am, you know, luckily AV Forums have sorted me out with the visuals, but it's just the sound just annoys me. I'd love someone to just come in and go, I've set this up for you, here you go.
What they're doing, they're only doing 50% of the job. It's AV Forums, it's not just V Forums. It's not just V Forums. Where's the A? Demand A configuration.
Exactly, but how do you do that? And you know, listen to this, or, you know, but I'm sure when you get into because I used to be like join some of the other, because every component always has like an owner's forum, so it's like, this is the amp you got, this is the Blu-ray you've got, and there's always kind of those kind of forums that you can jump into. But, you know, I'd love them just to professionally do it. I want them just to come around my house, basically,
sort it out. Yeah, you know, invite them around. It's like I mentioned that I'd reset up my stuff before with the 360 was there, and that some of my settings were wrong and Game Mode wasn't on. The reason is because I was fed up with the sound not being exactly right, and a few weeks ago I ripped my lounge apart and did it all from scratch because I was that annoyed, and it took me 2 days because, well, there's quite a few issues. I won't go into it, but in a nutshell, what I was trying to do and what I've succeeded in doing is using my old amp to send everything that's not 4K through the amp to the TV using ARC, and everything that's 4K or HDR go straight into the TV, but still send the sound through ARC to the amp.
Right.
And doing it properly so that there was discrete sound, discrete channels of sound. For some reason, everything was mixed up, and I was only getting Pro Logic 2 for like pretty much everything, which is just like the TV's best guess or the amp's best guess at what the TV's saying. And I'd let it go for ages, and I'd look down and it'd say Dolby Pro Logic 2 or whatever, and I just think I wouldn't let myself go there. I was like, I'm sure that's fine, it's okay, really. That means is that it's fine. Pro Logic 2 is brilliant, Pro Logic 2 is great, I'm just going to be happy with that. And then one day, like you said there, it was getting, well, not one day, more and more, I was watching things and the music was drowning out the speech, and then all of a sudden there'd be a gunshot or an explosion. It's like, what? There's a blooming earthquake in my house. And I was like, right. And I just did some tests, and then I fundamentally proved to myself that I was blagging to myself and that it wasn't discreet. And once I proved it to myself, which is why I never bothered doing it, once I proved it to myself, I was like, right, this has got to stop, because if I can't fix this, I'm going to need a new amp, and it needs fixing now, sort of thing. And then I just ripped everything apart and went through this. I think I spoke to you a couple of times when I was doing it. It's like, what you up to? I was like, it's not good, mate. I'm trying to reconfigure my amp and it's taking ages and it's not working. And I was just sat there in a tangle of HDMI cables, running things under the floor. And the thing is, because I put everything under the floor,
yes,
the whole place is an absolute mess while I'm doing it, because I'm not going to... You can't put everything back. You can't tidy up until it's all okay. So there's so much trial and error of every device, and then making sure that every device, like, swapped to every device and things like that. Oh, my goodness me, it was an absolute nightmare. Claire came home on the first day. I'd been at it all day. And she came in, she goes, how's it going? And I was like, I thought I was there so many times, but essentially I'm no further than when I started. And I was furious that night. And then because of that, I woke up like stupid in the morning, came down at 5 a.m, started again, did it all day. And then she came home, I was like, I thought I had it, but I didn't. There's one thing that's ruining it. It's every time, what it was, that every time on the PS4, every time you went to, everything worked. and I had like my Dolby Digital, and it was all cool. But every time you went to load a game, it tripped from Dolby Digital to a different input, to the ARC input, which was not what I wanted. And it was like, because it was every time it went to that black screen. So if you pressed the PlayStation button and came back from the game to the menu, or went from the menu to a game, every time it tripped the input to a different input. And it was a compromise I wasn't willing to make.
Yes. And
then sort of I was sat there, and later on Sam had gone to bed, and I was sat there forlorn. And I was like, I'll just try one more time. And instead of setting it up the way I had been setting it up, what I did was I put the ARC cable in first, and which probably I should have done at the. It's great, isn't it? In hindsight, it's great. So I put the ARC channel in first, which I hadn't done before, and then did each console after that, each input after the ARC channel, and tested them one at a time. And there was something about doing the ARC wire first; everything just worked after that. And because of all the experience I'd had of trial and error, I sort of instantly knew where I was. I knew all the settings in my amp. I knew everything I needed to do with my HDMI CEC connections and stuff like that. And once that ARC channel was set up solid, everything else just went bam, 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 bam. I did the whole thing in like 20 minutes.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And then I just tested it that night, and you should have seen the beaming grin on my face. I was so happy. And then I don't know if it was that night or the next day, probably left it till the next day, and then I just tidied all the wires away, ran them under the floorboard and stuff. And I was just like, oh man, never want to do that again. But all the wires are in place now, so if I do get a new amp, it'll just be a case of really just take that amp out and put a new amp there. But
that's
now,
the gorgeous thing about it, isn't it? If you can set it up like that, it's just absolutely superb.
It's really like you've got a really demon setup. Mine's a bit of a mess, really. But now I've got that sound, and I don't think I've had it for about 2 years. And it was about moving house. It's when I reset it up. I obviously just had enough with moving house. I was like, it'll do, and I never let myself sort of explore it. But now I've got it back. And I see, I mean, I've not got 7.1 sound, and my amp's old. My amp's old, but it's brilliant. I've had it since like 2011 or 2010 or something like that. And it still holds up, except it can't do 4K properly. It could do the old 4K, but it doesn't do, proper 4K now. But it gives me that sound. So basically all my amp does, it's anything that's 1080 goes through the amp. But what it's really there for is for the sound. And I get my discrete channels through my 5.1, and I've been playing so much stuff that I was annoyed with before, and the speech is coming through the centre, and the other stuff's coming from I can just tell. It's not a hodgepodge of different sounds all coming from everything. It's discrete channels, and that's what it is. It's discrete. There's certain sounds for certain speakers, and my goodness, it's made a difference. I love it, and it's like I bought a new amp. It's awesome. So I can totally sympathise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really funny. Like when we've been up in the living room, we've got the Sonos play bar, and that does a really good job. I really like that as a play bar. It's a really good, sound bar, and we kind of put nighttime mode and speech mode, and it just sounds so good.
Wow,
it just
does nighttime mode?
So good.
Does that just turn the bass down?
Yeah, so it turns the bass down. It turns the bass down, but it kind of elevates the speech a bit, and it's just such a lovely sound that comes out of that. So I think when we eventually do get back in the movie room in a couple of months' time, I'll probably do some kind of rejigging then, and because I'm worried because all of my wiring in the movie room is all behind the coving, and the whole wall has got to come down. So I'm telling the contractors they've got to be careful with that wiring, because I don't want to put everything back, and then suddenly you don't get anything from back right speaker.
And it's all hidden. Everything needs to be tested, doesn't it? I mean,
it does indeed.
I thought I was bad with one little floorboard. I was like, it was doing my head in. But crikey, everything's in the wall and stuff. Wow. You need to have a grand opening when it's done.
Absolutely.
Get yourself a little rope and stuff. And
Mine's got like even the shelves. I've got these really big chunky shelves, and the wiring goes through the shelves because the two front speakers just stand on a bookshelf, and you can't see any wires because the wires are inside the shelf. So it's things like that need to go back. And it's just like, it's the worst room to have been wrecked. But yes,
is it going to be like a phoenix? Is it going to rise from the ashes and be better than ever before, or is it going to be just the same? Tell me it's going to be better.
It's going to be better. I'll see if I can get a new TV at the same time. Anyway, right, let's, just in case Nicola's listening, let's jump into what we've been playing. So what have you been playing this week, Des?
I've been carrying on with Kingdom Hearts 1.5 Remix, which I've been thoroughly enjoying. And it's funny, so that game, I won't give you any more Kingdom Hearts facts. I think you gave you an overdose. An overdose of them last week. But it was interesting to explore those facts, I'd forgotten all those things about this game from 15 years ago, man. And I'll tell you something, it stands up well. I played a lot more of it now. I've completed it.
Oh, wow.
Completed it for the second time. I could barely remember any of it. It's weird. I could remember some key things, but for the most of it, it was kind of new again. And I nearly did. But I couldn't remember how to do it. I was going to take some screenshots and show you how beautiful it is, but I can't be bothered checking the settings because I think if I press the share button, it just starts to broadcast.
Right.
And I was like, do I hold it down? And I just couldn't be bothered. So I didn't do it. But it stands up so well in its sort of native 4K glory. A little interesting fact is when it goes to the cutscenes, it actually goes to 4K 30 frames per second.
Right.
Which is weird. Whereas the cutscenes work less well than the actual full game.
Oh, wow.
It's funny, isn't it? In the old days, you used to play a game for that cutscene that was rendered and all blocky. You thought it was amazing. But nowadays, it's like the cutscene on a remake is because that's an old asset is actually worse than the actual engine. But yeah, really beautiful. Loved the adventure of Sora and his friends visiting all the different worlds. I'd forgotten about some of the worlds in the game. Go to Atlantica and meet the Little Mermaid and all her mates. Nightmare Before Christmas Town. That's called, I think it's called Halloween Town. So you get to go Jack Skellington, or you get to reacquaint if you've played it before. What other worlds were there? There's so many good ones. There was the arena, the Colosseum from Hercules, which is brilliant. And in there you did all different fights. And I think the last time when I played it all those years ago, I got stuck on one of the challenges where you fight Cerberus, the three-headed dog. And this time, I beat him. And not only did I beat him, like it's the Hades Cup, and I beat him, and I actually completed the Hades Cup, and I am sure, because in my memory there's this little glimmer of rage. I remember, because Cerberus was quite hard this time, and I actually was going to give up, and then I kind of remembered it was like, you gave up before, Darren. This time you can do it. And anyway, I
what voice is that in your head? It's
yours.
It's like the snake from Jungle Book.
Trust in me. That's funny. It's funny they didn't have a Jungle Book world, interestingly enough. Maybe that could be in Kingdom Hearts 3, because I don't think that's been done. So yeah, just completely, really enjoyed it. I got more involved with the gummy ship. Now, to travel between worlds in Kingdom Hearts, you fly this little ship, and there's this really sort of, I thought at the time, complex sort of building tool where you can add bits and you can create your own ship and stuff. And back in the day, I couldn't be bothered with it. It was like, it's not explained very well in the game, and I sort of left it. And it, to my detriment, really, because sometimes getting from one world to another, I'd get killed because I hadn't upgraded the ship. This time, Sam took an interest in the gummy ship because it's really big and bright and colourful. It's really simple graphics, but you're just flying through space in sort of a first-person viewpoint, blasting stuff, and you pick up bonuses as you get to your destination. He really liked it, and he loved the fact you could create it. So, because he said, "Can you learn it? Can you tell me how to do it?" So I had to learn it. And once I learned it, it was okay. It was not the most intuitive creator I've ever used, but it was okay. And so we were creating these ships together, and that just made us more powerful. And then so that whole aspect of it became a game in itself, and I didn't realise, but there's little missions involved in that. So that's a whole mini game of its own, and it'll say, "Here's a gummy ship mission. Do a mission, equip a haste block, and use accelerate 3 times." Without dying and stuff like that. So there's all these reams of missions to do, as well as the fun you can have, just the Lego fact, the creativity part of it. It's like they're big chunky blocks that you just popping together and creating this nice chunky ship, and that was really fun. But as well, I think I took more time enjoying the game this time, and not that I really grinded in the game, but I'm sure that I got to a higher level than I did last time. Because when I got to the end of Kingdom Hearts last time, I remember this because my parents were visiting, and they sort of turned up after a long drive, and I was playing Kingdom Hearts. But I'd gone past the last save point, and I'd played it for about an hour or so. and it looked like it was the run towards the end, so I couldn't turn it off. If I turned it off, I'd lose my progress. And I was like, oh, I'll be finished in a minute. And basically, I was fighting this boss for about 3 hours. And then I finally defeated it. Mum and Dad were like, thank goodness for that. We ordered a takeaway. Mine went cold. The takeaway took ages to arrive. I was still fighting the boss. My takeaway, everyone finished their takeaway. I'm still fighting the boss. My takeaway went cold still. But this time, I finished it not terribly easily, but so much more easily than the last time. And it was a very good, solid, enjoyable experience. So I finished that. And it was great. And so if you can get it for a decent price, I would recommend diving into Kingdom Hearts. If anything, just for preparation for Kingdom Hearts 3, if you're interested. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't want to pay £40-50 for it. But I think if you get it for 30, 35, I think that's a good price. Or you could rent it from Boomerang, couldn't you? You get it from Boomerang. And it's good. It's a good package, as I said last week. It's got like 4 games in there. And that brings me to my next point. So, finish that one. It's kind of like, what should we do next? Now, the game gives you there's a title screen or a main screen, and it lists all the content that's included. As I said last week, you get sort of like the Kingdom Hearts game, then you get the Chain of Memories, then you get 352 stroke 2 days or whatever it's called, and that's just cutscenes from another game. So I thought, okay, let's have a look at this game that came out on, I think, the DS or something, or the Game Boy, some Game Boy iteration ages ago. I thought, let's have a look how the story continues. So I started up Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories with an open mind. Now, I knew it was different. And so it picks up where Kingdom Hearts left off.
Right.
And that was really cool. I was like, oh, wow, the adventure continues. This is really cool. But the game's completely different. What it essentially is, it's a game where it's a dungeon crawler where you go from room to room. It's in the same style as Kingdom Hearts with the graphics. It certainly is now. I don't know if it was on the Game Boy, but they've made it the same. But you're essentially battling through each room to unlock parts of the story. You're inside this castle called Castle Oblivion, and I think what you've got to do is battle your way to the top to sort of get to the end. The trouble with it is, or for me, it might not be trouble for everybody, but it's a card game. It's a card-based game. It's really strange. You seem to just pick up cards as you explore the place, and then in battle, it's not fluid. Each move you do is kind of an amalgamation of active real-time fighting, but every time you make a move, it uses a card. So you can't seem to do combos very easily. And you can kind of pick which cards you want to use to do different moves. And I gave it an hour or so, and it didn't flow well with me. And essentially, I just thought, I'm not getting on with this. I don't really like it. And I thought, what am I going to do? This is really bad, because I was really looking forward to going through the story, one by one. And then I thought, hold on, I'll just pause that. Let's just put that on the back burner for a minute. Let's have a look at the next feature in this list of 3 from 1.5 Remix. Let's look at this 358-2 days, and that is a collection of all the cutscenes from the game, but just in cutscene form, so you can just watch them all to get up to date with the story. And
that's cool.
I thought that's brilliant. But then I sat through about 10 minutes, and I was just kind of like, am I really going to sit here for 3.5 hours just watching this? And it's quite good. I think it breaks it down into chapters. But you know what? I just thought, I haven't got the time to just sit and it's as if I love cutscenes, but I think I sort of feel that I've got to earn them. It just didn't feel right. I just thought, I don't think I'll be watching this. So then I thought, this is really bad.
So it's not cut together like a 3-hour movie or something.
I think it probably is, but I didn't give it long enough.
Right.
I just thought, it started off, man, and I was just completely bewildered with what it was showing me straight away. I thought, I don't understand what the heck's going on here. It's nothing to do with the characters that I love. It's just weird. And I was kind of like, I just want Sora back, which you don't get in Kingdom Hearts 2 anyway. So I thought, hold on, what I'll do is I won't watch that, and I won't play the game, because the game I'm not liking at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'll go off and I'll just read. I'll find I'll do a Google search. What happened between Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2? So I did that, and I found this 20-page thing that explained the story from this guy who's a big fan of Kingdom Hearts. And he said himself, I love Kingdom Hearts. I'm one of his biggest fans, but holy cow, this is ridiculous. It's like I've spent years trying to understand this story, and it says it still doesn't make sense. And he meticulously wrote out all what would happen, and I was reading it, and I was just like, this is absolutely crazy. I was like, this is so convoluted. I just found it to be, I was kind of like, it's that ridiculous that I started to not feel bad for missing out on it, if you know what I mean. I thought, it doesn't matter. Because I remember when I played Kingdom Hearts 2, the first time, and I felt sad because you start off with a different character, not Sora, and I was like, oh, I don't like that. And I can't remember much more than that, even though that came out probably in 2008. So it's a lot more recent than 2002, which Kingdom Hearts came out. Though I can remember more about Kingdom Hearts 1 than 2, which is strange. But I do remember that disappointment. But after reading that, I kind of thought, you know what? I think what I'll do is I'll just play Kingdom Hearts 2 because I understand a little bit from what I've read, but I don't think it's worth playing all that card game and then watching all these cutscenes when what I really want to do is play Kingdom Hearts 2. So, rechain of memories in an unprecedented thing. I don't often do this. I'm abandoning it. I think. I'm probably not going to watch these cutscenes because I just can't justify the time.
No.
And what I'm probably going to do is find a YouTube thing saying Kingdom Hearts in 10 minutes.
In 5 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was just thinking about that.
I'm going to find one of them. I'm going to watch that. I don't really want it to, and then I'll stop it when it gets up to Kingdom Hearts 2. Because hopefully it'll then encompass the 1, 2, 3. The 3, well, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1 I know, but 2 and 3, there's 2 games. There's the Rechain of Memories, the card game, and then there's the game that these cutscenes came from. Watch that, and then hopefully it'll be a bit more easy to understand than this write-up that I read. And then I'll be ready. So I've abandoned that, and I've started, only just before the podcast, the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Wow.
Or 2.5 remix, I should say. So that's what I'm doing. And you know what? It was weird because Kingdom Hearts, I think it took about 38 hours or something like that, playtime, roughly. It seemed short after Persona. After Persona, it's kind of like, it's like we haven't even got going. It's really odd because like Persona's like 107 hours or something. But yeah, really enjoyed it. And just conflicted about that Rechain of Memories game. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to watch a YouTube thing, try and get more of a concise summary of what the devil's going on. And you know what? If I don't understand it, I don't care because I started Kingdom Hearts 2 and it just looks beautiful. And it's its own thing, isn't it? And I'm going to try and piece it together. I remember last time feeling the same feelings, but it's, regardless of what's happened in between, I think if I remember rightly, it's got its own story in there. So I'm just going to take it for its own story because it just looks so nice, colourful and bright. And I'm just keen to do it now. You know, I'm keen to do that, and then I'll try the game after this one and see what that's like. But I have got no idea what that's like. So that's me. I'm Kingdom Hearts probably for the next few weeks.
Awesome. So have you played Kingdom Hearts 2 before?
Yes, I completed it.
Right.
I bought it when it was released. I was like waited, with bated breath for it.
Wow.
And then it came out and I bought it and just devoured it. But oddly, as I say, I can remember less about that than I can about the first one. But yeah, I did play it because, I would definitely played it because I know I did. But yeah, I remember feeling disappointed that it wasn't the Sora that was in it. But I think he turns up later on. So I'm quite happy to be hazy, really, because it's like there's the odd bit of familiarity, but it's like we played the first bit before, and I was like, this is so. There's a slight bit of familiarity, but I cannot remember it, and that's kind of good. So it's kind of like it's a new game to me, and it looks so nice. And then I'll finish this, and then what I should have done is probably waited a lot longer until Kingdom Hearts 3 is like round the corner. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Get it done. Be refreshed and ready for Kingdom Hearts 3 in 2018.
I love it. Get it done.
Get it done.
Have you read the boss fight book on Kingdom Hearts 2?
No.
As well?
No, I've only read the boss fight book on Spelunky.
Oh right, okay, yeah. Because one of the podcasts I listened to, one of the show hosts, Alexa Ray, she wrote it and she was talking about it just the other day. I was like, oh, I must remember to talk to Darren about that. Though it's on Amazon. It's about £7 on Amazon, but it's it's got an ice lolly, a blue ice lolly on the front cover.
Is it for Kingdom Hearts 2? Did you say?
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2.
So weird because I just started the beginning, probably the first half an hour.
Yeah.
The gang that I presume I'm going to get to know very well, they were all sat around eating blue ice lollies.
Ah, there you go. That's the relevance. I wanted
Maybe it's their favourite food. Yeah. I don't know if there's any story in there, but they were all licking these blue ice lollies because I tell you, they looked really nice. It made me want one.
It's like a raspberry flavour, like a raspberry slushy.
Yeah. You can't get good ice lollies anymore very often. They're all full of ice cream, and I lament that.
They're all kind of there's less sugar now. There's less sugar in things. So when we were a kid, there was more sugar and more bad stuff in there. Now it's all healthy. All the kids have got to be healthy. Yeah.
So that's me, man. Kingdom Hearts. So what about you?
Wow. I've just been playing Splatoon. So I was talking last week about the bonkers craziness that is Splatoon online. It's actually quite funny. When I haven't been calibrating TVs or doing DIY, I've been playing Splatoon 2. And the great thing about having that on the Switch is that I can play it in bed. I can play it while the TV's on. I could just kind of
play it in the garden while Nicola's chopping wood. Or assembling a shed. You could just sit there playing Splatoon anywhere.
Exactly. While Nicola is being the alpha person in our house, kind of sawing things and doing all of that.
Yes. She's got a checked shirt on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm playing Splatoon with maybe some sun cream on, so I don't get so my sensitive nose doesn't get brown. But yeah, though. So I've been playing a lot of Splatoon 2, and what I've been playing, I haven't been able to kind of hook up with the guys when they've been online. I think we're going to do it on Thursday, so in a couple of days' time. But I've been playing the single player, so I've been going through the single player of Splatoon, which I kind of wanted to do as well because the great thing about the single player of Splatoon 2, and I'm absolutely loving this game, is because it takes you through. So what you have is these hub worlds, and then when you're in the hub worlds, you have these little kind of mini worlds that you need to find. So a bit like Mario. You go down a pipe and you go into this world. But what it's doing is it's making me, it's giving me every gun. So Sheldon, who is the guy who gives you all of the kind of paint guns and everything, he's giving you a different gun for each challenge. So I'm really getting used to all the weapons and how best to use the weapons, and how to use the kind of sniper rifle, how to use the big roller, all things like that. So I'm really kind of learning a lot as I'm going through the single player mode.
Cool. So bang for buck. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Is there a full game in there for the money? Do you think your 50 quid's worth it for Splatoon 2? I think we decided ARMS probably wasn't. How's Splatoon stand up? I'm hearing good things about it. You love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've rented mine from
because you were tempted last week, weren't you? You were saying, I could buy this. It's that good.
No, absolutely, and I want to. That's what I was going to say. I've rented mine, but I'm going to, when I'm kind of done with it, I'm just going to buy it digitally because I really love this game. I really love the single player. I really love the single player. The multiplayer is good fun. I've jumped into a couple of multiplayer matches just against randos. That's good fun. Like I say, hopefully on Thursday we're going to play some more Salmon Run if it's open, because obviously we have that bonkersness that the multiplayer mode could be turned off.
Wow.
Which still befuddles my brain. But it's really cool. I've started buying different outfits for my character. I'm really enjoying that sort of stuff. So,
is that all sort of you get that currency in game, do you?
Yes, so as I'm playing through, you just get currency. It's like XP. The more of those kind of the more orange balls you get, the more kind of XP you have, and then you can go and kind of buy stuff in the shops and stuff like that. So I've kind of completely kitted out. I've got a nice, cool T-shirt, a really cool hat. I was tempted to go for a beanie like I did in the Division, but I've got a different look for this. It is that sort of stuff that I'm really enjoying. So, but like I say, the single player, I've gone through I think 3 islands, and so each of them, I think there's about 4 or 5 mini islands, and then there's a boss. and then you have a boss battle that you need to do. So you're just kind of going through that. But like I say, it's taught me how to use all of the different guns and how to kind of work with them. And I'm just really enjoying it. There was a couple of times where a couple of the worlds were a little bit tricky. Died a couple of times and I had to kind of work it out. But again, I think I always kind of measure a good Switch game is how quick it makes my commute to London. And
it's a good gauge.
Exactly. I jumped on the train on Friday night on the way home, and before I knew it, it was like Tunbridge Wells. I was like, oh, okay. I even almost missed London Bridge going into work on Friday. So I was playing it, and I was just playing away, listening to a podcast, playing Splatoon, and I almost missed London Bridge. So that's kind of how good it was.
It makes the train sound nice.
It really does. It really does.
That's a feat. So you sort of hit your stride with it now. You're well versed with the controls. You've got some moves. You can get about that place with a plum.
Yep, absolutely. I'm jumping from side to side. I'm kind of really kind of playing it well. Like I say, it'll be interesting to jump into multiplayer. So hopefully some of the guys will be together on Thursday, and we can all kind of jump in and play. It'll be really interesting to just kind of see how good my skills
stack up.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be.
Are you confident? Are you gonna beat them down, Anthony?
I'm confident it won't be the same as I am in Mario Kart. I'm not saying I'm taking James on because you just don't do that. It's just like he's called Trophy Thomas for a reason.
Can you hold your own online a bit?
Yeah, I'm kind of like top of the because you have like 2 rooms of 4, so 2 teams of 4. I'm normally kind of first or second in those teams, so I'm really enjoying it.
You're sounding pretty confident, mate. I'm looking forward to hearing the results. I almost want to boomerang it so that I can join it, but I'm not going to. I'll be terrible. I've played, as I told you before, I played the Splatfests and stuff on both the Wii U and more recently on the Switch, and I do like it, but yeah, I'm not going to be good against you hardened players now. My goodness me.
So as I said before, we've set up a Discord server, so we can talk. Because you need to set up a Discord server, so we can talk. Because obviously Nintendo doesn't really do a good job of that. So we've done that, and and that's just it's going to be good fun. The normal kind of craziness when we all kind of get together.
Absolutely. I read a statistic today that only 17% of Switch owners have downloaded that app.
Wow. What, the online app?
Yeah.
Wow.
If the online app's the same as the communication app, is that the same thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like they did some stats, and the conclusion was 17% of Switch owners had bothered with the app.
And 90% of that, 17% that downloaded it, deleted it straight away.
Yeah, but there was an interesting thing they said. They said that when they looked at the App Store, sort of the territories, I think they were probably talking about US. They're saying the US, it was like 70% negative, right, for the app. But when they looked at the Japanese ratings, it was 70% positive.
Wow. I guess it's because they're not used to like Xbox Live or PSN or anything like that. It's just... Yeah,
so they're just happy to put up with it.
It just works. Yeah, for them it just works. It's all text-based. It just works. But Discord is the way to go, as all the cool kids say. So that's what I've been playing. So it's just really been Splatoon, really. It's been Splatoon all the way. As I said last week, I've been helping Nicola trying to find that last shrine and that last Korok seed. We still haven't found those. But she's now off doing all the other kind of missions that came with the DLC now. So she's going, if I come across it, okay. She's been very nonchalant about this, but I know inside she's probably dying. So
she's burning inside. But it's true. As soon as you said that, I was like, they say that, when you're not expecting it, things come along. So she won't be thinking about it. There'll be like one moment when she's forgotten about that seed, and she'll be like busy, tangled up in some quest, and then all of a sudden it'll appear.
Well, yeah, absolutely. She has the Korok mask, so that's what she's hoping. Like walking around the world, suddenly her mask will just jiggle. It will make that noise, and that means that she's in the vicinity of that one.
Wow, my goodness me! It's such a big map.
It really is. So yes.
Every credit to her.
So she found a giant horse the other day. Honestly, it's a completely different game to what I've been playing. She found a giant horse the other day and befriended it and gave it apples and all of that sort of stuff. So she was riding around on this giant horse. It was crazy. There was some mystical horse that she found the other day. There was this little pool of all these little mystical creatures, and she managed to sneak up on the mystical horse there and drive and then ride around on him as well.
When you think about value that a game gives you, she's extracted, in spades the value from that game, hasn't she? She's done really well.
Absolutely. I look up every now and then and go, this isn't a game. She found some guy who only appears at night time. He's like a little trader. He only appears at night time. He's awesome because once you find him the first time, you can just spot him in the distance. Because he's so bright at night, you can just see him kind of walking in the distance. And it's incredible to see. And that's how she'll be getting all the different costumes. And
wow.
Incredible. Like I say, it's a completely different, from someone who got like 25% to someone who has 98 point something percent. It's a different game.
It's amazing. Have you seen that? You must have seen it, and Nicola definitely have seen it. There's a dragon that appears at something like sunset and sunrise. Massive, long, taily dragon. Oh, right. Because I wondered why they were different colours. I thought it was the same one, and I always try and get near it, but I can never catch it up. And I just love it. I just love that. I see it, and it's kind of like a quest. All of a sudden, go! Let's get to the dragon, and it's like a Chinese dragon, isn't it? Because it's long like a snake, and it's massive. It's immense. I don't know if there's a reason for it.
There is. You can get scales from those dragons.
Can you ride on top of it?
No. But you can get scales, and they do cool stuff. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
I use my teasing voice. That doesn't sound like this. Yeah, that doesn't sound like the snake from Jungle Book. Right, let's get started with the news. But before we get started with the news, quick plug. Don't forget you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes, and also you can do the same on YouTube. That's plug over. So let's start with the news section. And in this week's news section, PS Plus is getting a price hike. PlayStation announced the free games for August. And Minecraft is better together. But Dad's first piece of news is with you, sir.
It is. So, yeah, you just alluded to it. But let's get it out of the way, shall we? Probably one of the biggest pieces of news of the week was the European or British PS Plus subscribers all got an email saying, hello, dear subscriber, we're going to put up your subscription from the 31st of August by £10. So it's going to go up from $39.99 to $49.99, which this is a weird one. You can argue it a few ways. It doesn't sound like much, but it's a 25% increase. On the other hand, it hasn't increased since it started. So you could say, well, it can't be the same forever, or can it? They didn't really say we're going to up it by £10, but we're going to give you this either. There was no sort of extra cherry on the cake. There was no sweetener. It was just that they were going to up the price. The best that we got was the quote, we are changing the pricing to reflect various market conditions while enabling us to continue providing exceptional value to our members, which you could kind of get away with if PlayStation Network never went down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not got a reputation as being the most reliable. So, yeah, what do you think? You must have had the email. What was did you have an instant reaction? Did you just kind of think, oh, fair enough? Or did you think, they're just trying to take me for a mug? They're taking their lead of 60 million consoles and they're just taking advantage? Or were you just kind of like, yeah, fair enough. It's been many years and I've had a lot of fun and I'll give them an extra tenner?
No,
tenner a year, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was quite interesting because you I think you got out in front of the. I got a message from you before I got a message from Sony saying about the price hike. So I was quite surprised that they would be going up £10, and the problem that we have now with these kind of ecosystems, and I know we can pull away anytime we want, but we are kind of quite, kind of invested in it now. I have some friends who play over on PlayStation. There's some games that I have on PlayStation, so you need that PS Plus account.
Yeah. I think almost, and this is what I was thinking when I was getting angry about it. I was thinking it's almost like because the online play needs this. You need to pay this to facilitate online play. You can't use it without. It's like, well, hold on a minute. Don't do this to me. Why can't you just say, I'll just pay £10 a year or, a cheaper amount per year. I want none of the games, but I just want the online if I want it.
Yes. Yeah.
Give me that choice. There might be people that aren't interested in the games per month. To be honest, it's rare that one comes along that we're going to really love because if we're interested in a game, we've pretty much already played it when it was new. So you get the odd gem, and it'd be great for people that don't buy games. Or that are new to the console. I think it's great for them. but I think there's a bit of a lack of choice there, and there could be an option. If they gave another option, I'd consider it. It'd be like, well, at least I've got... Because by cancelling it, it's like, well, I won't be able to play online should the need arise. I mean, I don't even play online that much, but I just subscribe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I was getting to. You're right. You do just subscribe just in case. I've got Star Wars Battlefront. There are some games that I do play online. But and you're absolutely right about the kind of PS Plus. Don't find the games with gold and the PS Plus, like this month, we'll get to that. We'll go through that now. But like this month, we've got Just Cause 3 and Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry. Both really good games. I've never played Just Cause, and that looks a little bit bonkers.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And this is it's almost like, look, we're going to put the price up. We need to give you a good
game. This is the first time, and it's coincided. It's like, Just Cause 3, I'm actually interested in this, and I never bought it. Because it didn't quite get its head above the parapet to make me want to get it. It was almost there, but it didn't quite get it. And that comes out when they put it up by a few quid. And it's like you say, it's like, yeah, they've kind of... If that was more consistent, you woun't mind. But then they should have made an announcement, or as part of the announcement, they could have said... Oh, by the way, you're gonna be getting some, not better because it's very subjective, but they could have said something like, we're going to concentrate on upping the standard of the games going forward or something like that, and that would give you a bit more faith in it.
Well, when I saw the email, I was expecting for that extra £10. I was expecting like backwards compatibility. The PS Now. I was thinking, they're charging an extra £10. Are they giving something else? And quickly kind of scanned through that email, and saw that they were giving. There is nothing else. There is just that. But yeah, I'm quite surprised. I wasn't angry, but I was really surprised that someone who is that far out in this kind of generation race would then start putting the prices up. I know the dollar to pound to euro is changing. It's actually going back the other way right now. I mean, I think the pound's having quite a strong time at the moment, but to see this, and like I say, it's £10, it's quite a couple of pounds, or you could expect to kind of just swallow, but the fact that they actually increased it for £10 is quite interesting. I mean, I think the great thing that you did was obviously that you could go to CD Keys or the likes, and you can then buy, you can stack in another year, can't you?
Yeah, I read that email, and it took a minute, and I was like, grr, and then I was like, oh crikey, what am I going to do? And then I thought, right, I'll have a look online and see if I can get a deal. So as soon as I saw it, I thought, right, let's have a look. And I tweeted about it from the Sparks. It was shop2.net were doing an offer. They had it on sale for $29.99. Which is £10 cheaper than the standard price. Standard's $39.99, and mine's due in September. So I was it kind of been on my mind that I needed to upgrade it anyway, and I was like, right, let's do it. So I went on to Shop2. I told you about it. I was like, look, mate, this has happened. They've got it cheap if you want to, sort of just insure yourself against it. I'm not sure how many you can stack, but I bought 2 anyway. But as I was buying them, I have the feeling that every man and his dog that got this email had decided to do the same thing because the website started to crumble.
Oh, really?
Yeah. By the time I'd got my first in my cart, and then I was refreshing it to try and go, but because you couldn't add 2, it wouldn't let you. For digital downloads, it said you got to do them separately. You couldn't just do +2 to the basket. So I bought one, and then I went back to the store, and then I was like back to the PSN offer. And then all of a sudden, it was just taking like 5-10 minutes to load a page. And I was like, oh my goodness me, this is it. Words got out. Everyone's trying to do the same as me. I thought I was quick. But luckily, after a lot of waiting and patience, and the page erroring and stuff, I got another one in the basket. So I bought 2 12-month subscriptions for £30 each, which takes me up to September 2019 for £60. And you know what? Really good. I'm happy with that. So I don't actually have to worry about this situation at the moment. And that's why I tweeted, because I thought I want as many people as possible to insure themselves against having to think about this question for as long as they can. Mm-hmm. And then you can think about it in a few years, But, it's still there. I think 25% of increase with not really much justification as to why is a huge increase. I know it's just £10 a year and all the rest of it, but it is a huge increase with And it's the messaging. I find the messaging rather not arrogant so much as overconfident. I don't know. It's just kind of like, yeah, well, everyone's going to have it, so we're just going to put it up. And why do they need to do this? Why do they need to do this? They're selling consoles by the bucket load. Maybe because they're selling consoles by the bucket load, I'm starting to answer my own question here. There's more of an infrastructure to support.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an argument. But put that in the email.
But surely that's their cost that they have to bear. They've sold 60 million PlayStations, so there's more people active on the servers. That's all part of what, when you look at the pie chart of how much that PlayStation 4 costs you, that's all factored in there. Your slice, it's factored in there. And the fact that they now have 60, I'm not sure. I don't think that everyone's a PS Plus subscriber. So let's say 50%. So they've got 30 million of those kind of 39.99 or soon to be 49.99. They've got 30% of those. That's a lot of cash per year for your infrastructure.
It is, and I think it's a shame, right? I was thinking about this. It's because they're starting to add up. You've got your Sony one, and then you've got your Xbox one. Well, we have, and then we're going to have a Nintendo one. There's not going to be much, but it's still adding up. I'm like adding this up now as an entertainment bill, and then you've got your Netflix, and then you may have your Amazon Prime as well.
Yep.
Am I missing
Music.
one?
Apple Music.
Then you've got your music subscription. Then you might have Spotify. That's a premium service as well. Should you choose it? Well, let's just go for one music service. That's 6 services that you could be paying for as part of your household budget, and it adds up. I mean, some of those are monthly rather than yearly. But it adds up. I mean, I made a stand many years ago because I was one of the people that they surveyed before PlayStation Plus was a thing, and I got the survey asking me loads of questions about would I be happy if they did an online service that you had to pay for and you got free get, and I said no to it all. But obviously, lots of people must have said it was a great idea because it got through. I'd love to see the results of that survey, but it got through, and I wasn't happy about it at the time. But I thought, you know what? What can you do? I think you're held to ransom with the multiplayer to a degree. Why am I even saying that? I rarely play multiplayer, and I think it's just the not knowing what games might come out, isn't it? It's like, it might be something good, and Just Cause has popped up this time. That's great. Resogun when the PS4 was launched, awesome game. I mean, I missed that. I had to buy it. Broforce, of course. That was another one. I was having a look at there's a list on Wiki of all the games that came out on PS Plus, and it's a massive list. If you include PlayStation 3 and the Vita, all the formats, there's 493 games.
Wow,
in the list. So that's it's a heck of a lot of games. But let's just look. I'm going to look at the last few weeks, right? So let's have a look. I'm not going to look at this month's because you're going to tell me about them. I don't know about them, even though we've sort of talked about it a little bit. So we've got Darkstalkers Resurrection was okay. Tokyo Jungle, PS3, that's good if you've got a PS3. And then again, there's like you said, the backwards compatibility or lack of it. A lot of people are saying, there's been some rumours that I'm seeing around the interwebs, and people are speculating that this rise is in lieu of us getting PlayStation Now included. And so they're trying to spin an optimistic angle at this, and I think that's great. But surely they would have said straight away, because the internet's all up in arms about this. If that was your plan, wouldn't you have included it on the email?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it would have been completely different. Even though I probably wouldn't have been that bothered, I think I'd have been like, that's good. I'm happy. They're forcing it on me, but
like, that's good. Give me Nino Cooney. Where's Nino Cooney? And then you would have compared the Canada list to the UK list. And then
let's get that Canada list. Let's get that Canada list up again. I think I'd have just got some kind of VPN then. And I'd have been in all territories getting all the games, and it'd be amazing. But I can't see it. I think that's wishful thinking. I think they put it up by a tenner, and that's that.
Yeah, I doubt if they would put it up by £10 and then go, we're going to see the super secret reason why we're doing this. We're going to, and then we'll tell you at PSX in December. I can't see that kind of happening somehow. I just think,
sorry, I probably didn't mention it. It's not till August. Oh, I might. It's not till August the 31st. Up till August the 31st, you can still renew at $39.99. But after that, I think it's 1 minute past midnight on August on the 1st of September. that's it. It's going to be at the new price. So it's not right now. Everybody's got about a month.
So we've still got time to go to Shop 2, where you got it for £30, or we can also get it from CD Keys if they run out, and CD Keys have it for £33.
Oh,
so there's still
That's
some
good.
time. Yeah, so there's still some time to kind of save some money there, I guess.
Yeah, so if you're interested, and I do like to stack it. I don't know how many you can stack, but certainly my 2 worked. I don't know how many you can stack on top of each other, but I kind of like to do that because you just don't have to worry about it then, do you, for a little while? And if you do it before September, you don't have to begrudge the extra tenner for as many 12 months as you are as you're rich enough to buy, I suppose.
But that's really good. That's really good because, like I say, it's going to go up to $49.99.
It is, yeah. So lots of people doing this hashtag for the coffers, hashtag for the corporations. So I was thinking of my own hashtag. I just thought you've got hashtag for the players, and I didn't see this one. I made it up myself, but it's probably out there. Someone else will have thought of it, I'm sure. But I just thought hashtag for the payers instead of for the players. But I couldn't be bothered. You know me. I don't do much. I'm not very socially active. But I thought that was quite good for the payers. I might actually tweet that. Go onto there. PlayStation Plus $49.99 for the payers. Quite liked it.
And then kind of tweet a link to all the CD key stuff and things like that. So where people can get it cheaper.
Genius. And say, stack up now.
Yes. But that's really interesting. And you've done it, so you can prove that you can do that. So, like I say, buy a couple, and that keeps you going for the next couple of years. Yeah,
you'd be happy till 2019, and by then you've probably forgotten about all this nonsense. Who cares about £10 unless it's gone up by another 50.
PlayStation 5 will be announced, and you'll be ready to kind of go into that new ecosystem anyway.
Well, that's the thing. It was kind of like, part of me was like, whoa, well, what if it changes or something like that? But they're not going to change. I mean, they've gone on record. I think if it wasn't who was it? It was Shuhei Yoshida, but is it Jim Ryan? He's a Sony guy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks ago, and he was saying that they're very, very focused on the services that aren't actually the hardware that go on out of there. Like the revenue streams, like the PlayStation Plus, like the PlayStation Now, like Phil Spencer's Games as a Service. They want this subscription-based thing. It's money. It's a good business model. So I had a little glimmer. I was thinking, what if it changes with PlayStation 5? I thought, you know what? I'm sure it won't. It'd be too complex. Just let everybody. They're just going to keep everybody subscribing. And then I'll be set, won't I?
Yeah, you can't even change your PSN name on PlayStation 4. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to do anything complex. It's just like it's really interesting when you see kind of like Xbox Live in comparison to PlayStation Network and the things you can and can't do. It's getting better. It's getting better.
It's slowly getting better over time. But I think if they have another outage, there's going to be even more fury.
Oh my goodness!
You charge us an extra tenner and it's gone down again.
Can you imagine, like, when does it roll over? When's it?
And 1st September it'll be the new price.
Can you imagine, like, the 2nd of September, just before Destiny comes out, they have a crash. Oh,
Lizard Squad, whatever it is, attack.
Yes.
And it's like, DDoS, and it's kind of like, yeah, but you just got a million extra £10, so sort it.
Sort it now. Awesome. Excellent stuff. That's really cool. Like I say, we'll stick a link to those CD keys and the other one that you had as well.
Yeah, the Shop 2 one. I think that's sold out, so maybe CD keys is the last haven.
Cool, excellent. We'll stick a link of that in the show notes as well. Right, next piece of news is with me. I've got a bit of Minecraft news. You can tell that I've had like one go into Minecraft and now I'm a Minecraft aficionado. But I thought this was really interesting because this is kind of where we want to get. This is the good stuff, and it is basically today. The beta starts for cross-platform Minecrafting. So there basically there was a post on Minecraft.net that basically said that we're rolling out the beta on Windows 10 and Android today, with Xbox One beta access to follow in the coming days. So they've already started with Windows 10 and Android. Everything else is coming at a later date. If you're on the Nintendo Switch or on the Xbox One edition right now, you'll receive a brand new version of Minecraft for free, so you're going to get an update as well. So they're readying the servers for all of this, just to make sure that everything works properly. But they want to make sure that Windows 10 and Android, maybe they're the two kind of iffy platforms at the moment for them. They want to just make sure they're working. So the beta is rolling out right now. For the beta, you obviously there could be some bugs, there could be some issues, but the payoff is that you're going to get the early glimpse of some really cool stuff. They said on Minecraft.net, and I'll stick a link to this. So what they've lined up is fireworks, parrots, armor stands, a recipe book, new game rules, and also stealing the show, as they say, is the one and the only coarse dirt. So they were very excited about this. They even put it in bold and in caps. Wow. So coarse dirt is coming. So you can, and it's really funny. So they put they've got a link, they've got a video, and they said, but most importantly, you get to see that sweet coarse dirt in action. See below. I'll stick a link to the show in the show notes of this Minecraft update. But you also get stained glass as well, jukebox and music discs. There's lots of stuff that's kind of happening here. But I think, like as we were saying, I think that most importantly is that you can finally now play your worlds kind of cross-platform and with people from different platforms, not PlayStation Network, obviously. For the
maybe that's what the extra £10 for.
Maybe that's it. They're going to pay that to Phil Spencer.
It's a crowdfunding thing to do Minecraft crossplay
to allow them in, and I think it is just PlayStation just not joining the pipe, as if it's the channel tunnel. They just won't dig that extra mile and join the pipe. But yeah, so you're going to be able to play Minecraft on Xbox One, on Nintendo Switch, PC, iOS, Android. But right now, starting today, we have the beta for Windows 10 and Android.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The thing about this that I'm looking forward to, obviously, well, not obviously, but it links in with playing it on different devices, is that, and I might have mentioned this to you before, Anthony, but I've got my world on my Xbox One. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I haven't got my original world on my laptop because the laptop died and I lost my original world. But never mind, anyway. So me and Sam have been building this world since he was able to hold a controller. So we've got this big old place. And I've got my Vivecraft in VR, which is on PC. And that uses a modded version of Minecraft that isn't the Windows 10 version. It's the normal version, if you like, the PC version that isn't the Windows 10 version. And what I'm excited about, I don't know if this is going to take a while. This won't be instant by any means because the modders will have to sort it out. But I'm hoping that by some way, because I think what they're bringing out with this is, and I think you mentioned it, is the way to be able to what's the word for it? Conversion, world conversion to the different to each different platform. Now, I wanted to explore the world that I created with Sam in VR, or I wanted to explore it on my PC. I wanted to put it on a different format, and on some of the versions, I think it was the Pocket versions that are out on the iOS, and I think the Windows 10 version is based on Pocket as well, but I'm not absolutely sure. You were able to then convert and play them on the different devices, right? But I couldn't take my Xbox One version of Minecraft, my world, and convert it to the PC version. Mm-hmm. And it always saddened me. Primarily because I wanted to explore it in VR, because it would just be amazing, because we sweated over these bricks. And I think with the advent of this, because of the world conversion aspect, I think it's going to open the gates to allow people who've got the VR version of Minecraft to be able to explore all these other people's worlds. Well, obviously, it's going to enable everybody on every different platform that's participating to explore everybody's different worlds. But to be able to do it in VR it just takes it to a different level. It's like, wow. I mean, it's quite special. And yeah, obviously, that isn't an official thing. But I'm hoping that will happen. But regardless of that, I'm just quite excited about this. I almost wish, because I think everybody I know has got it on Xbox. So I wish that I had a friend that it's kind of. I just wish I had a friend. I wish I had a friend that had Minecraft on a different system, and we'd always been yearning for this. And they told me, and they lived far away, so I'd never seen it. And then they'd always told me about this fantastic world, and then all of a sudden the portcullis had opened with this update, and you could go in and have a look. I think for a lot of people, I think that's just going to be fantastic when they've got it like an iPad user can explore a PC user's world, and just stuff like that. It's just it's really good, and there must be a lot to that because, for instance, the iPad version of the world is more limited in scope, in size than the PC version. So that's an interesting obstacle that I presume that they've overcome. It's like, oh well, the iPad user will go and play in the PC guy's world because they've got more of a world to share. And I suppose another thing as well is there's always been this kind of the PC, and maybe rightly so, it originated on PC. I think the PC is really the Minecraft's spiritual home. Has always been ahead in regards to additions and new things being added. It's always been there on the PC first, and there's been quite a long wait for them to then filter down to the other platforms. Would you say that I'd be right in assuming that when this opens up, everything will be everywhere at once? Because I think that it would have to be that way, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's quite interesting because a lot of the kind of marketplace adventure maps and skins and things like that, if it's one of those ones that maybe not like kind of Halo, that might be kind of console specific. You're not going to be able to maybe kind of jump into a Halo outfit on the Switch, maybe. So I think it does work that out just to make sure that you are playing something that's compatible on all of the systems. But apart from that, yeah, it's just going to be all open and you'll just be there. So you could be in Minecraft. There could be someone on Xbox, someone on an iPad, someone on a Switch, and someone on a PC, and then your friend on a PlayStation 4 just kind of looking over the fence.
Yeah, not included.
Yeah, not included.
Right, and he's not even got shoes on his feet because his last £10 went off for his PlayStation Plus yearly membership. So I think it's a great thing. And as I say, I've got sort of an ulterior motive with this from the VR standpoint, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Such a good added feature, I think, that you're going to just kind of be able to exploit.
And so you could build something. I'm hoping that I'd be able to sort of go into your world, and you'll be playing on your Xbox, and I'll be in my VR version.
Mine will just be a giant hole. I'm like, I'm digging a hole, and that's it.
Nothing wrong with that. I tell you what, though, before it starts to run before we can walk, we do need to meet up in Minecraft, so we'll have to do that first. And
yes,
then baby steps. Then we'll go from there. But it is almost a shame that we haven't got it on a different system. But even so, it's a lot of fun. It's all right for you, isn't it? You step into Minecraft one week, it's like, oh, I'll try this Minecraft, and all of a sudden, they just open it up for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in a couple of months' time, we're going to get super duper graphics mode.
Yeah, man, they roll out the red carpet for Mr. Chesson.
Well, there you go. Kind of wait long enough.
That's what it was, wasn't it? They knew about you in your 4K.
They were like, we've got him. Finally, we've got him.
Got him. It's like, are we adding HDR as well?
He's a sucker. He'll play on the Switch as well. Let's play that.
Yeah, if we had HDR on Switch, you can't do that. Never mind.
No, maybe Switch 2.
One day.
So Minecraft beta together. It starts the beta. It starts today on Windows 10, and then Xbox will be coming later on.
Get involved, and the whole world will be united. Imagine. Just imagine. Okay, so I suppose the next piece of news is with me, and this one, Super Mario Brothers on the NES. Originally sold for $26.99. A guy picked one up in I think a thrift shop or something. It was original and it was sealed. Guess how much he sold it for?
Oh, I don't know. How much?
$30,000.
I wouldn't have come close to that. I was thinking like $5,000 or $10,000. Wow, that's incredible.
And that's not up for sale for $30,000 because things can be up for sale or whatever. It's been sold for that amount of money. Yeah, wow. And the weird thing about this game is that it's not a rare game because it's the game that came with the console.
Yes.
So everyone that got the console got this game. I'm not sure if it was boxed and sealed, because it depends. I didn't have an NES, so I don't know if you got it in cellophane or whether it was just the cartridge. I really don't know. I think you probably got it in the box, but I think there was 40 million copies sold worldwide of this game. So that's the weird thing about this. It's not one of these games that you're never going to see. But the thing is that this particular one. Was an original edition, one of the first editions of the game, and it was in the original cellophane.
Wow.
And you could say, well, anyone can shrink wrap stuff these days, but I think the telltale was that it's got this little cardboard hook attached to the cellophane.
Right.
That apparently, I could get some scissors out and some glue, but apparently that sort of proved that it was in fact like one of these first edition originals. So this guy picked one up. Really funny. It's there's a picture of it here on the site I'm looking at, and it's wrapped up in the cellophane. It's got the original price sticker of $26.99 on it.
Wow. Which
is brilliant, isn't it? And then somebody's paid, I think he put it on eBay, and it went for $30,100.44. So, wow. Can you imagine that? Unbelievable.
I mean, it's really funny how, kind of, as I went through a box, recently, I think I said last year on the pod, it's like there are collectors out there that go bonkers for the boxes, rather than the game. I have copies of games, that are without boxes. They sell for peanuts on eBay. But it's when you have the box that they sell gangbusters. They really do. And obviously nothing's as rare or as immaculate as this, but this is absolutely fantastic. What a great piece of history.
I know. Well, this guy, he's kind of a retro seller, so he picks up these rare editions, and he said that the guy that bought that one, this guy's got a few quid, man. He'll be subscribing to PS Plus for definite, because not only did he buy that, he also bought sealed copies of Kid Icarus and E.T. for $11,200 a piece.
So he's just a lunatic.
He just escaped for the day. I wonder if that transaction has actually cleared. But yeah, have you heard of Stadium Events? That's supposed to be the most valuable game you can find.
Yes, because I remember when I kind of originally went through the story, I remember we kind of went through that, didn't we? Went through the list of those really kind of those hefty prices, and Stadium Events was one of the top ones, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now apparently a sort of perfect as you can get copy of that went recently for $76,500.
Oh my!
Which is $100. Well, that's pounds. Sorry, that's $100,000. $100,000. Yeah, wow, but it's exceedingly rare. It's exceedingly rare, that one. So you should always keep your eyes out. And while we're on the subject of selling old stuff for loads of money, there's another guy. I think a Redditor guy called L064N, and he was in a charity shop in California, and he saw a console which looked strange. It was a funny looking thing. Now, it wasn't the console that I would have expected, because I'm sort of, when you talk to me about an Atari console, and I think about the 2600. This is actually, after Googling, he found out it's a rare prototype for the Atari 2700.
Wow.
Which is an unproduced wireless follow-up to the 2600. I'd never even heard of this machine.
No.
And he bought it for $30 from the charity shop, and then he sold it on eBay. It went for $3,000. Just like that.
Wow.
So there you go. And then I got a bit of information about this Atari 2700. It was planned for release in 1981. What else have we got that's interesting? This is the thing. It was the controllers were wireless. You remember those Atari joysticks, the indestructible ones? They were doing a pair of wireless controllers for it. Apparently, they combined a joystick with a paddle. It got as far as marketing, but it never was released. Now, what was the reason that they weren't released? I think it was something to do with the wireless. Yeah, the guys at Kotaku got in touch with the National Video Game Museum, who's called John. The director there is called John Hardy, and they asked why it didn't actually get sold, and he said the controllers were really the main reason it didn't sell. They were radio controlled, and the range of the controllers was said to be about 1,000 feet, which meant that you could easily affect your neighbour's system with your joysticks.
That's hilarious.
He says, imagine living in an apartment building where that 1,000 foot range could potentially affect 3 or 4 other systems. Since the controllers were only unique to left and right players and not to the system itself, it meant that a large family that might want to purchase 2 units would have the same issues. So that's a bit of a fundamental flaw, isn't it, in your controllers? They're only on like one frequency.
Wow, you imagine when they're designing, go, what's the range of the controllers? Oh, about 1,000 foot. They'll be like, oh
that's
my
amazing.
God, that's incredible. Well done, Brian. And then you realise the implications of that. And it's just like, but the thing is like back then, when did you say this came out? 1981?
It was aimed to be released in 1981, yeah.
The TVs were tiny back then. Why would you ever need 1,000 foot away from your Atari?
Don't know.
Well, you'll be able to see the screen. It's like I can see a dot. You're like, yeah, that's the game. It's Pong 2.
It's just bragging rights, isn't it? You know, you've got achievements these days. Back in the day, the idea for this was how many feet away from the TV you can still beat someone at Pong.
Wow!
It's like, I'll beat you from 50 feet away easy on the 28-inch CRT.
Incredible.
That was massive in the day. 26. The old 26-inch CRT. Blooming heck! I was going to say that earlier when you were talking about TVs. Actually, I don't think ever before in history of because we talk about 4K TVs because it's synonymous with gaming now. I don't think it's ever been so hand in hand with gaming, has it? And the reason that I was going to mention it, it just sort of popped out of my head and popped back in now, was that Phil Spencer's been talking about. Phil emailed us, well, through his aide, but he emailer to the Sparks. He said, because you were talking as well about Xbox One X pre-orders, they still haven't started, but Phil said the other day, he said Xbox One X and 4K TV bundles are coming soon.
Wow!
So that's how synonymous it's getting. You know, I mean, I sort of see that as as an incentive to buy the TV, isn't it? You know, it's like you're going to blow a few grand on the telly. Nice sweetener, you know, if they do a deal with Xbox, and it's like it comes with an Xbox One X. Crikey! And you'd know, or I don't know if you'd know, but I would certainly feel reassured that Microsoft had done their due diligence, and you could be assured that set was a good gaming set, you know, with low lag and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So that had instilled confidence in me that it was not only a 4K TV, but it was a 4K TV that had Microsoft's seal of approval as a gaming TV. And if it's a gaming TV, then it's going to be good for everything, because the gaming's going to stress the telly the most, isn't it? You know, keeping up with the quick moving graphics and all that. So if it's good for that, it's going to be good for everything, I would have thought.
Absolutely. I mean, Mike Ybarra, who is he's like the technical expert at the Xbox, yeah. So he's like the technical lead. He was on a podcast I listened to, and they actually test every single 4K TV out there. So they used to have it. What they used to do was they would go down to Best Buy, or they would go to like kind of the equivalent in England, like of Currys, and they would say to like Best Buy, like Microsoft would go to a Seattle store like Best Buy and say, right, can we rent this store in the evening? And they would just bring down Xbox Ones and Xbox 360s and then plug them into all the latest TVs just to make sure there weren't any problems. And they're doing that now. They're not taking over the store. They're actually just kind of getting them. People are like bringing them in. You know, you can imagine LG and Samsung and stuff, and Panasonic, even Sony, kind of partnering with these and just saying, right, test our piece, test our TV with your latest Xbox. So that's what they're doing. And they actually said that's what they're doing at the moment, just to kind of make sure they're playing it on all of these different consoles. Because even when I was kind of going through and setting mine up, I couldn't get HDR to pop on one thing, and it was because sometimes, you know, they don't like a long lead. You know, the Xbox One doesn't like pushing HDR content through a long lead, even if it is a high performance lead. So there are things like that. But yeah, no, Mike Ybarra said that they played all of the latest TVs, and maybe even some might not even be out, but they've played all the latest TVs, and they've kind of been testing all of the latest 4K HDR TVs with Xbox One X.
I suppose it makes sense. It makes perfect sense when you say it.
I want that job. That would be so cool.
I'd love that job. I'd never get bored. Because for me, I've told you this before, and I did it on this TV that I bought, and I did it on the previous TV, and I'll do it on the next TV. If I'm about to purchase one, I take my console to the shop.
Yes.
And plug it in. And I want to see, and I want to feel the response time. It's so important. And the thing is, I just can't be bothered to order it and get it here and then find out that something's wrong and then go through the whole RMA business. It's just, for the sake of just, you know, going down your local TV store and just taking 10 minutes to test, or 20 minutes, whatever it is. For me, that is crucial.
It's
I could not buy a TV
really,
without doing it.
When you say that, it's just a no-brainer that you really should try and, you know, kind of pop down and you know, and I guess kind of it all depends kind of who you buy your TVs from as well, because, you know, some of them won't allow, but if you do more of a kind of maybe not a mainstream one, but maybe kind of a more niche one, then they're going to want you to do that, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, if they wouldn't allow it, I think they were trying to hide something. But I mean, I tried it. I mean, years ago when I bought one of the TVs, this was like, I can't remember. This was when 1080p had just come out. And my TV was like the biggest you could get at 1080p without going, you know, to stupid money. And And I remember, and this was in Comet, when Comet still existed. And I remember saying to the guys, I was like, well, can I bring my console down and test it? They were okay with it. They didn't mind. They just said, yeah, bring it down. And they all gathered round and had a go on Geometry Wars. We were all passing the pad, and that was really cool. And the TV passed the test, you know. And I was like, Demon, this TV's great. You said it was great. I had to test it. Fantastic. I'll have one. And similar situation with the TV that I got last time. It's just I can't deal with the idea of it arriving and it's my own fault. It's like for the lack of me asking the question that can I test it. It's like I've lumbered myself with all this red tape now to RMA it and send it back, and I just can't. You know, the thought of it does my head in, and having to deal with people, you know, all that stuff.
It's funny because, like you say, like when you plug in the Xbox One S and you do that 4K test and you get X's next to run 4K, so do good. HDR. That is just, I hate when that happens because it's just like, oh, have I just bought a TV that can't output HDR for an Xbox? You know, and you're right. You know, so you kind of go, you want to go down. I mean, I remember when I bought my first like proper surround sound, and I was like, it was like a Marantz DVD and a Marantz amp, and I went to Audio T in Brentwood, and they allowed me to take loads of DVDs. So they said, bring DVDs and bring whatever you want. So I took like Jurassic Park, I took the Pod Race, I put like episode 1 from Star Wars because, you know, that's a terrible movie, but the Pod Race is fantastic. It used to be my go-to Blu-ray or go-to DVD when I was setting up picture or trying to figure out a sound, and I brought them all, and they were going, okay, right, there's the TV that you've got, and now we're going to put this. It was probably a Denon, and then they were like, right, that's what a Denon sounds like with these speakers with Kefs, and now here's what Marantz sound like with the, and they were doing this, and they were just sitting there, and we just had some drink in there, and it was just so cool just to kind of be able to do that, and I would love to do that with consoles as well, just so you can play around on the TVs.
Yeah, it's awesome, and you know, it's growing. I think. I mean, obviously, I think our little niche is a bit of a special case, but I think the amount of people where a console is the main peripheral that you're using with your TV is growing. Especially, you know, it's got Netflix, it's got everything on it, hasn't it? You know, like my mum and dad will buy one because it's the easiest way to get a Blu-ray player, for instance. You know, when they've crossed that boundary.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, it's just this kind of thing happens more and more. But yeah, when you said you get an X there when you run that test, I said that's so good. I didn't mean that it was so good that you get the X. I meant that it's just so good. It's so elegant that test is just such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
That instead of guesswork, it does that for you. That's such a geniusly placed little test. I love it. It's just what you want as a new owner. You've got both things. You plug it in, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, you might get X's, but you can fix them to be ticks. But isn't it great when it ticks, ticks, ticks? And you know it's saying, because before that, when they released the update for HDR on your TV, there was nothing on the PlayStation that really told you, I don't think. You sort of, have I got HDR? Have I not got HDR? I kept restarting Infamous, the Infamous First Light game to see if I got it or not. And it was a bit of a rigmarole. But if it had a test, it goes ding, 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 you know, tick, tick, tick. Elegant, easy, straightforward. It's very good.
Absolutely. You know, it's some thought has been put into that UI, hasn't it, over on Xbox, just so you get all of that, just so you know that that's running at the optimum. Yeah, and that's what you want. You want to have that closure, that satisfaction, and then you can rest easy. Absolutely. Awesome. So, right, next piece of news is with me, and it's PS Plus games for August. I've already alluded, I guess, to the 2 top games. I've already talked about the 2 top games for this month. So, starting today, as we pod, which is the 1st of August, we've got Just Cause 3 on PlayStation 4, Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry. Assassin's Creed is a crossover. Assassin's Creed Far Cry 4. And so, Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, which was it's a standalone expansion for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which puts you in the boots of a shipwrecked sailor and Brotherhood assassin as he goes head to head with the French slavers. So that's available. There's also on PlayStation 3. You're still getting That's You, by the way, as a bonus title, which Darren, you were saying works really well in a big group last week.
Yeah, it's good fun.
You got Super Motherload on PlayStation 3, Snake Ball also on PlayStation 3, and then Downwell is on PS Vita, and Level 22. It's half of Level 42.
It'd be Level 44, wouldn't it?
I was trying to be funny. It's just Mark King on the bass. That's what it is. It's like Rock Band. It's like Rock Band, but you just play the bass guitar.
I'm going to shut up. I'm sorry.
It's the first stealth-game set in a merciless and frantic world of work. Yep, okay, so that's level 22. Wow. So there you go. I mean, I guess Just Cause 3 and Assassin's Creed Freedom are kind of the standout titles for this month.
It's funny, because we've been discussing the price hike. This is probably the best month for me. I've not played either of the two top games here. I've never played. I enjoyed Just Cause 1.
Right.
And then I just didn't get the others. So Just Cause 3, I'm going to play Just Cause 3 after the pod, right? I've got it downloaded. I'm excited. So that's good. Like, probably the best game I've ever got free, this one, for me. Right. Until I play it. I don't know. I mean, but I'm excited about it. Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, you just told me the synopsis there. That completely passed me by.
Wow.
Well, Assassin's Creed passed me by.
Like a ship that sailed in the night.
Yeah, like we just missed each other. I played Black Flag and I loved it.
Right.
So it's weird. I think maybe after Black Flag, because I loved it, but I didn't complete it.
Well, that was the one I just sort of left. You don't play DLC.
Well, it's standard. Yeah, well, I will be. I'll be playing it Uncharted standalone DLC. Standalone DLC is not even DLC.
That's not a word, is it? Yeah, you can't have standalone DLC. That's just not a word.
What is standalone DLC?
It's a game.
It's a game. It's a blooming game. Give over, mate.
Yeah.
So I'd be quite interested because I didn't know. I saw a brief clip and I thought it was like, oh, it's just Assassin's Creed. Can't be bothered. But if it's got some sailing in it. And if the sailors sing shanties, I'm willing to download the 8 gigs just to do that again. Though I could have done it in Black Flag, I suppose. But I'll have a look at that, maybe. But you know what? Downwell's crossplay.
Oh, is it? So it's crossplay on Vita and PS4?
It's on PS4, and I love Downwell. It's been out for a while on PC. I spoke about it many moons ago on the podcast. Downwell's awesome. And I love the fact that it's out on PlayStation 4 and Vita because it means, as I was saying the other week, it means I can play it when I want without until the PC to be in the same room as me to play it. Though you can play it on a laptop, really, because it's not very... it won't stress your machine out too much. And it's just a game where you just drop. You drop down the well. Your guy's got gun boots, so when you all you do is do left and right and fire, basically, and you drop and drop and drop. It's like an endless dropper, if you like. And when you press the fire button, his gun boots fire, and you pick up different weapons. So you can fire different weapons from his gun boots, but they also pause you in midair when you're firing, and so you can use that little technique to basically master each level of the well that you fall down. It's very addictive, and it's a good game. I really like it. It's a procedurally generated roguelite as well, which is always a little soft spot for me. So Downwell's on PS4, it's so good. I had to go on that before we podded as well, because that was a surprise. I was like, Downwell, hooray. They've made it up for me. I'm happy to pay extra £10.
But you're not going to pay that until 2019.
That's a good point. In fact, I paid £10 less, so I'm getting it out. I'm quids in. I'm happy.
Awesome.
Brilliant. So what we gave the Xbox collection, I think like say a C+. What do you think of this?
I would probably say round about the same. Probably maybe a C-. I don't think there's nothing that's kind of dragging me in this week. I wouldn't mind hearing what you think about Just Cause 3. I know my nephews love it because it's just crazy bonkers that you can just kind of tie stuff together and things explode and it's all very cool.
My nephews love it too. That's weird.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to just kind of see what you think. So I reckon maybe a C-.
C-. I'm going to give it a B.
Wow.
I think Just Cause and Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, standalone DLC game, plus Downwell. I think that's good. I think that's pretty good value, because you could buy Downwell for like £4.
Yes.
And that's almost a month subscription. And for that, you get like Just Cause 3, which is, probably have some value there. I don't really know about Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, but if it's got the same production values as the others, then it's pretty good quality, isn't it? That's You is free as well, and that's fun for parties. I don't know about Super Motherload, Snake Ball, or Level 22, but it's just extras, isn't it? But it's almost like you get too many games, And you just kind of, I find if I get too many games, some of them will just sit there.
Yes.
Because I'm inundated. It's like, leave it at 2 and make them really special. But then I suppose they're trying to cater to the Vita and the PS3, aren't they? So they couldn't really do that. But yeah, lots of games there. I think it's quite a good month.
Excellent stuff, superb. I can't wait to hear your report next week on Just Cause 3.
Yeah, Just Cause 3. I will have a go, and I'll tell you what I think.
Awesome.
See if I can tempt you. Well, if it's rubbish, I won't be tempting you, but if it's good, I'll see if I can tempt you in.
Yes, because it has to be a good tempt, because I need to get the PlayStation 4 out of the movie room and then take it up to the living room and then re-patch it up with cables and all of that, so it's got to be a good one.
It's going to take something special to do that.
Yes.
Okay, we'll see.
Awesome. Next piece of news is with you.
It is, so never miss out on gaming while devouring fried chicken again with the KFC and Mountain Dew hybrid of chicken box and controller.
What
do you think about that?
This sounds amazing. I know friend of the friend shows, Matt, is probably saying, where can I get this? Where?
This is awesome, man. This is the KFC Mountain Dew lunchbox that, let me describe this for you. It's basically like a KFC chicken box, but on the sides it's got like a controller that's been split in half, and so you've got the left part on the left side and the right part on the right side. Imagine a Kentucky Fried Chicken box as a Switch, and you've got your controllers on each side of the greasy chicken box, and then on top there is a holder that when you buy it comes with a lovely can of Mountain Dew in it. But when you take the Mountain Dew out to drink it to quench your thirst, you're left with a holder that you can then put your mobile device in. The controller then Bluetooth connects to your phone. What? And so you can open the box, you can take your food out. Inside the box, you get one KFC chicken zinger burger, you get a serving of chicken popcorn, you get fries, and a choco pie. So once you've eaten that, or during, whilst you're eating it, you can just give your greasy fingers a quick wipe on your jeans, and then close the lunchbox, pick it up by the controllers attached on either side, connect your Bluetooth controllers to your phone that you've mounted in the Mountain Dew holder, and play until your heart's content on all manner of Android and mobile games.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome? Isn't that the best thing you've ever seen?
That is just absolutely crazy. Like I say, it'd be really cool if it was a Switch in there as well.
It could have made a Switch style controller on the sides. Actually, they could have done that. So yeah, I'd love to get one of these. I mean, Claire had to sort of hold me down as I was rushing. I saw this news story and I was like about to just run to my local chicken shop to buy this gamer's box. But unfortunately, or fortunately I should say, we can't get it in this country. The Gamers Box 2.0, as it's called, is it's only going to be available in India as part of a competition. So they're going to do a competition that's run by KFC and Mountain Dew in India, and only 10 units of the box will be up for grabs. So it's a shame. I know I've built you up. I've got you all excited.
We need to make our own.
I think, I don't think it'd be that hard to make, actually. But the good thing about this is, the box actually holds the food inside, so it's like a lunchbox. Imagine taking that as your lunchbox to school when you were little.
You'd be
awesome.
Coolest kid in the class.
The coolest kid in town, man. But yeah, I'm going to make one out of an actual used KFC box. Where it's all like sort of dilapidating because the grease is soaked through that you could almost just poke your finger through with no resistance. I'll take, because that's the reality of it, and I'll try attaching my Switch controllers to that. I wonder if that'll be under warranty when they don't work anymore.
That is just so cool.
They're drowned in grease, sir. Oh, sorry. Is that not covered?
Because I live in Tunbridge Wells, I will make an Abel and Cole version.
Oh, wow. And they deliver your vegetables in a beautiful box.
They do. The Abel and Cole vegetables are very beautiful. Now I'm going to turn that into a gaming box.
Wow, with no grease to worry about. You see, I got the Blackpool version. There's no Abel and Cole here, mate.
Oh, superb. That's fantastic. What a great section. That is amazing. Awesome. Right. And then on to the final piece of news before we get to the VR news desk. And this is kind of a quick kind of news section that we thought we'd add to the podcast. And this is kind of like once a month. We'll just quickly go through the games that are going to be released for this month. Because especially now, we're kind of getting into that silly season now where there's lots of games coming out. Just looking at August, which we're going to run through in just a second. There's quite a lot of games coming out. So we thought we'd just kind of go through, just kind of highlight some of the big games that are coming out this month, just so you can be ready and prepared to play the must-have titles for this month. So August, so it really is kind of that holiday season starting early. So we've got August. So right at the start, came out today, and one of the reasons I might actually kind of get my PlayStation 4 out of the movie room is Patapon Remastered. Comes out on the PlayStation Network. So Patapon comes out in a nice kind of 4K, gets a nice 4K remastering, which is very easy for Patapon. It's very basic, but it's an amazing game. So Patapon comes out August 1st.
Yeah, because you say it's simple, but I've just experienced with the Kingdom Hearts remaster, man. Simple looks beautiful in 4K. When it's done well. I was going to say simple and clean then, referencing the main theme to Kingdom Hearts, but I thought it might pass quite a few people by. Another Kingdom Hearts fact there for you. But yeah, with these big bold characters and big bold colours, which Patapon is just full of, it's so effective. And you said Patapon 4K, and I was thinking, yeah, they knew what to do to get down those stairs.
Absolutely.
Get that PS4 out.
Yeah, put my wellies on, wade in there, get it out with me.
So, did you get any extra stuff? Do you know? Is it identical to the first one? Has it got some extra stuff in there?
No, I think it's identical to the first one, but they've added trophies.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough.
So you've got
it's been a while.
It's all 4K, 60 frames a second, but it's also got trophies as well.
Oh man, good game. I remember that game. It's a good game.
I remember that.
And it was amazing. I was amazed playing that on my Vita.
Absolutely.
Oh, not my Vita, sorry, PSP.
Oh
PSP.
yeah, no, yeah, you're right. It was the PSP, wasn't it? I remember having that song. I can hear it now coming. It's coming down my brain tubes right now. But I remember having that song just in my head constantly, because if it wasn't me playing it was Nicola playing it on her PSP, and we were just like the entire time you could just hear that song playing over and over again. Actually, I think there was a really good. Oh, what was that? There was a comic strip that used to kind of Penny Arcade had a really good one where the kind of guy was going crazy and all it was in the background was that pom pom Patapon. So that's Patapon Remastered comes out today. Tomorrow, August 2nd, we have Tacoma. So the Fulbright Walk 'em Up game, I'm very excited about that. That's coming out August 2nd. Batman Enemy Within Episode 1. So next, one of the Telltale 3 that we were talking about last week, Episode 1 of Batman is coming out on August 8th. Wow. And then August 15th, we have Nidhogg 2. Sonic Mania, which I'm quite looking forward to, and I'm going to play that on the Switch. That's going to be kind of another really cool Switch game, and also Undertale as well. So that's Undertale's coming on PS4 and PC.
Wow, yeah. It's 3 interesting games there. Nidhogg 2. Nidhogg looks class, but I never played it.
No.
My own fault, and I know it's good, and I know I'd love it. So it just happens sometimes. So Nidhogg 2 is very tempting for me. Undertale I've loved for a year or so now. It's great to see it on PS4. A lot of people said it wouldn't work on PS4, and I always thought, yeah, it would. And here's the proof. I was right. So Undertale, fantastic, retro, old school type adventure game with some very clever writing and some really clever game mechanics that will surprise the player. Really good stuff. I don't want to spoil too much, but for instance, it'll have things like if you did something and then saved your game and started again, they'd have subtle things in there, like they've written it so that the characters would remember that you did that and sort of give you a bit of a dig about it and things like that. Just really clever, unexpected stuff in it. So there's a lot of good stuff in Undertale. But yeah, Sonic Mania. I'm looking forward to hearing what you say about that.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. It's like back to that whole kind of style, 2D. I think there's 2 Sonic games that are coming out this year, isn't there? And so Sonic Mania is the first one, and it just looks like it's going to be just some more Sonic. And I just think that would just play so well on the Switch.
Oh, yeah. Switch is great for anything like that.
It
Please
really
be
is.
good.
Yeah.
Just be old school. Just take it back, and hopefully it'll give everybody what they've kind of wanted forever, which is just the same. That don't try and evolve it too much. Just leave it. It was great.
Yep, so that's August 15th. We've got Nidhogg 2, Sonic Radio and Undertale. Uncharted, The Lost Legacy, that standalone DLC game. That's coming out on the 22nd. So it looks like more Uncharted, and that game's just looking absolutely superb. Madden 18 comes out on August 25th. And then on August 29th, we have Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. The next one that's on my boomerang list. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Windjammers is coming to PlayStation 4 and Vita, and also Yakuza, is it Kiwami?
Yakuza Kiwami, I think it would be said, which is a remake of. So I played Yakuza 0, as listeners will know, and I loved it. Was that really this year? Yeah, I think it was. That was amazing. This is definitely a year of RPGs for me. And this one, I think you might have told me about this first, but I did that, and I was like, oh, what a shame, because I'm probably never going to play Yakuza 1, and the other Yakuza games, because I think they were started on PlayStation 2. And this is the remake in the same engine as Yakuza 0 of Yakuza 1.
Right.
So I can carry on with the story, and I'm hoping that they're going to do that for every Yakuza game. So this is a game for me. I'm really looking forward to that. Carry on the story. Oh, wow. That's
so cool. That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's a massive result, and I loved the other one, and now I'll be going in kind of as not as a veteran, but I've tested the formula now. I enjoyed the other game, and at the end of it, I wanted more story of these characters that are bonkers, but like highly entertaining, really interesting. And it's like the art direction in the game is like a really good sort of thriller, and you get to explore Japan. Which, for me, it's like Persona, you got to explore Japan. Maybe that's all you need. For me, have a feather falling in the trailer and then explore Japan, and I'm sold. But really looking forward to this. Carry on with the story. I haven't read anything about it, so there'll be loads of people that have probably played the Yakuza games, and they know it already. But for me, it's going to be fantastic, because it's redone in a nice, pretty engine, and it's going to be glorious. It's already got that sort of seal of approval that it's lasted all these years. It's still got a reputation. People love it, and people love it enough to justify this remake. So I'm quite excited about that.
That's fantastic. It must be quite unique to have two brand new Yakuza games in 1 year for you. It must be. Yeah. That must be you must be like a very small population of Yakuza fans that gets to kind of experience kind of two new games in 1 year.
Yeah, it's usually like years between each one, and I'm going to get you 0 and 1 in the same year. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. I'm a very lucky chap. I could say the same with the Personas if I started from the beginning, but I'm not going to. But yeah, that's awesome.
And there's also a Persona animated series coming out as well, isn't there?
I saw that. Yes, yeah. I'm going to watch it. Oh no, it's Japanese only. I don't think there's any plans to make a westernized version. I'm sure. So I suppose if they subtitle it, I'll be happy with that.
Exactly, I'm sure they'll subtitle it. I haven't got round to watching the Castlevania one yet on Netflix. There's only 4 episodes. They're half an hour each. There's 4 episodes. I do want to sit down and watch that, because it's supposed to be quite good.
I hadn't heard of that. But when I was reading about the Persona 5 one, I didn't know, but they made one. They made a Persona 4 one.
Oh, right.
So I might hunt that down and have a look. But I've got no clue. I've got no investment with the characters. So it probably won't have the same effect. But that Persona 5 one is quite interesting. And they keep seeing figures from Persona of the characters. They'd make these amazing figures, and they're about £1 million.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw one today, and that was only, it said £30 to £50, I think it was, depending where you got it imported from. And the workmanship, man, or the craftsmanship, it just looks so good. I'm not really one for having figures out, but I do love them.
Yes.
I do. I sort of always want them, but I don't know where to put them. I'd need a room for them. VR room.
Absolutely.
VR room.
Absolutely. I've got a really cool display case that's got all of my Katabuyuki figures that I've said about before, and that was really cool. It's like a bit of an IKEA, but it's really industrial looking, and it looks fantastic because it's glass all the way around with like glass shelves. So I'll send a picture to you later on. I'll put a picture up. It's absolutely superb. But
Sorry.
Indeed, carrying on with the games releases for August. So that's kind of August 29th. Windjammers, Mario plus Rabbids, Kingdom Battle. Can't wait to play that, and also Yakuza. And then on the 30th, we've got Everybody's Golf. Again, another reason to dust off that PlayStation 4. Everybody's Golf is coming to PS4. And then I think my highlight for, even though there's a Batman game and Tacoma, my highlight for August is Life is Strange Before the Storm. So episode 1 of the next Life is Strange game.
Yeah, so is this isn't the Don't Nod game, though, is it?
No, this is the other one that kind of happens before kind of Life is Strange. So we've got Life is Strange on August 31st, and also Resident Evil Revelations as well is August 31st.
Wow, so many games, and that's not all of them, but that's like sort of the best of them, isn't it?
Yes, there's some more, but the list would just be kind of quite extensive. But I just thought I'd kind of
it would be all day.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be picking out just kind of the highlights for each month at the start of the month. So we've got, like I say, there's some really good games. We've got Tacoma, Patapon, Batman, Yakuza, Life is Strange, and Everybody's Golf.
Loads there, yeah.
Loads.
Great idea, Anthony. This.
Superb.
I look forward to it each month, and we can get ready for it as well. We might have recommendations for each other that we might not have been interested in.
Yes,
I think it's really cool. Why didn't we think of it before?
I have no idea. And that's the end of our regular news. It's now time to head over to the VR news desk for all the latest in VR.
VR desk.
Yeah, here we are at the VR desk once again. What we've got for you today, we have got 4 fine pieces of news for you, starting off with Sansar coming to VR. What is Sansar? It's Second Life 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Second Life 2 is a thing. It's been in closed beta for some time apparently, and I think yesterday they opened the doors to an open beta for anyone that would like to try it.
Right.
It's been built. I think you can access it on PC, just like you would with Second Life. But this has been built specifically or more for the VR era. So yeah, man, Linden Labs. Remember that name? It was massive in its day. See, I think Second Life has been pretty popular and probably got a massive, massive community. Mm-hmm. But it was it sort of peaked into everybody's consciousness at one time. Certainly around the time for me that I remember Second Life being quite prominent in my circle. It was that long ago. It was when Facebook was first starting. It was around the time when I was told about Facebook. Right. It was like, there's this thing, and you can like tick your friends, and then they add you and stuff, and you discover people. So it's that long ago. And I think it peaked, and I think it sort of went down a bit. But I think it's been pretty strong. But anyway, Linden Labs have got this other one, Second Life 2 for VR, called Sansar. It's a bit different. I think Second Life, you just went in through one place. Like there was one door to the whole sort of metaverse, if you like. This is different. It looks like, as a creator, which everybody has the option to be, you can create and host virtual worlds, and people who explorers, if you like, who want to go and view these worlds, will connect to them from a hub.
Right.
So every world has got sort of a doorway in, instead of just being one massive expanse. So that's quite a difference from the original Second Life, and it looks pretty cool. I'm going to have to go and have a look at this. It's supported on the Oculus Rift, which is still on offer, I believe, for $399.99 with the touch controllers, which is a really good deal. The Vive and Windows PCs. And it's called the Creator Beta. It already apparently has got hundreds of places that you can go there and visit and look around, and it offers users the ability to try your hand at making your own worlds as well. So it sounds pretty cool. They've got, I think the business model for the last one was that you bought real estate if you wanted to actually pay for the game. They've changed it for this one, and it's if you want to create more than 3 worlds, that's when you have to pay. So that's quite interesting. Each world that you create can hold at this point around 35 players simultaneously, and that sounds quite low, doesn't it? But this is where the magic happens. After it hits 35, it uses something called automated instancing, which creates clones of the world to be able to effectively reach unlimited audiences.
Right.
So it just keeps cloning the world with 35, clone with 35, clone with 35. So I quite like that idea. It's kind of a bit Ready Player One. And yeah, so the model is, if you want to try it, it's an open beta, so you can go and have a go. It's free to have, or to build up to 3 experiences is free, with customer support via email, If you just want that and you're happy with that, which I imagine many people would be, I certainly would be happy to have a nosy round, then that's free. If you want to then, you're a bit more serious and you want to create 5 worlds, or more than 3, I suppose, then it's $10 a month, $9.99 a month. And then it just goes up from there. If you want to do 10 worlds, it's $30 a month. And if you're a professional, that's a super creator for $30 a month. And if you're a professional and you want to host 20 worlds, it's $100 per month.
Wow.
So it's a different, totally different business model from the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna jump into the old headset and have a look at this. I was always very interested in Second Life. I didn't really play it that much, but I watched some people play it, and I just found the whole idea of it quite intriguing. But I kind of thought, this is kind of, even then I thought this is more of a VR thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we've got VR and we've got the guys that made Second Life that must have had VR in their mind when they thought of all this, at the forefront of it with all their experience, I'm cautiously optimistic that this might be an interesting experience at worst. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's Sansar, the name for Second Life 2 open beta. So that's that. Then we've got Gran Turismo Sport, PlayStation VR functionality. Unfortunately, sounds like it might be a little bit more limited than people expected. Last couple of days, the website has got a little bit of a press release, and they're saying that the PSVR side of things for Gran Turismo Sport will only offer 1 versus 1 races.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame.
It is. What's the quote? The game is compatible with the PSVR, providing the user a 360-degree 3D environment to experience. Wow. I mean, that's, so you can just look round the track.
That's just so cool. I like the idea of that, and also kind of like walking around the cars as well. Maybe
Forza, putting your head in.
Project Gotham Racing did that ages ago, but actually just being in VR. And just again, I think this is something I'm adding this to Boomerang just so I can have a quick play with Gran Turismo. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you want to sort of put your chair. You work out where the car is and get a chair that's kind of the same height and put it exactly where the sort of driver's seat is. Oh. And then you could sit inside the car, couldn't you?
Perfect idea.
That's pretty cool.
Bloody awesome.
Try not to fall over. They also say there's a dedicated VR drive mode in the arcade mode. So this is the playability bit where you can drive where you can drive one-on-one races as though you're really sitting in the driver's seat, surrounded by a real car interior.
Nice.
So just 1 versus 1. It's that's just sort of it. I just expected that it would be many cars, so it's a bit surprising that. But maybe it's just the limitations of the PS4. I don't know.
Maybe absolutely, but it's quite nice that it's got the VR mode. But yeah, like I say, it does just sound just a little bit restrictive there.
It is, you spent what is it, £300 or £400 on the PSVR, and it's just, I don't know. It's just you'd just want more, wouldn't you? You're like, crikey, it's like almost what I want.
Well, I mean, it all depends how good the graphics are in that, because Drive Club gave you kind of a full race of 12 cars, but it was very noticeable that you were playing in VR. So Drive Club as a game is quite stunning when you're playing on PlayStation 4, but when you play it on PlayStation VR, the quality definitely drops. So it'll be interesting to see if this kind of keeps that quality, but it had to restrict it to 2 cars, so it could do that, because it could render all the cars. But if you pull off or you can't catch up, you're going to be just on your own, just looking at the scenery, aren't you, and crashing.
Yeah.
So,
I suppose if you're always in front, you never notice anyway, do you?
No.
Apart from your rear view mirror. So yeah, we'll see what that's like. I'd be interested. Definitely, I will love to hear about your PSVR experiences. So if you get that on Boomerang, that'll be well cool. The next thing we've got is Experience VR at the London Shard. So some companies have been commissioned to create some VR experiences that people could enjoy at the top of the Shard in London.
Right.
So one of them, the first one, is called The Slide. That was by Happy Finish Studio. And that allows people to sit. They've got like a toboggan-style chair. It's quite stylised up in the Shard. And you sit on that, you stick an Oculus Rift on, and then you get a VR experience of a high-speed ride over and around the Shard.
Wow.
With steep drops and dizzying heights. The images for this were captured in 360 degrees using a custom camera to show a highly realistic view of London from above. So that's pretty cool.
I love the idea of that. That just sounds so cool.
Yeah, that's really good. The second experience you can do at the Shard now is called Vertigo. This is a room-scale experience by developers Inition. And on this one, you put on a Vive headset and you grab the controllers and you watch as the walls and the floor fall away.
Oh, God.
Giving you an uninhibited view of London far below. And then you get some tasks and stuff that you've got to complete, which involve balancing and navigation while you're feeling like you're just dangling in midair at that height. So that's pretty scary. I think that's pretty cool.
I think that's amazing, because if you think about it, you've gone up the lift, you've all looked around, then suddenly you put a Vive on and you're in the same environment and it all starts just dropping away. That is going to mess with your mind, isn't it?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Amazing.
Where when you put the VR, if it's the same room that's been mapped out and then that changes, that's brilliant immersion, isn't it? When I first read it, I was a bit cynical and I was thinking, the idea of VR is to give you these experiences wherever you are. Why do I have to go to the top of the Shard? Because it's like, if I want to the top of the Shard, I sort of want to see the view. I don't want to put a headset on. But you kind of summed it up there where you said that. I think that's right, because you've already gone up the lift and you know you're there. It'll have so much more impact, won't it?
That is an absolute mind mess. I think that is just so cool, because
you know you're there.
Yeah, you know you're there. You've already looked round. You've already taken your pictures, done your selfie. You're up the Shard. It's all very cool. And then suddenly, you put a HTC Vive on and it all falls away. Wow, that is amazing. That is a superb.
It would petrify me thinking about it. I was pretty shaky at the top of Tower 42,
yes.
Champagne Bar at the top. I went there and it was pretty windy, and I was convinced that I could feel it sort of the building sort of swaying. And so you say that, and I didn't need VR, and I was like, whoa. So yeah, that would be awesome. Like, you look down at the floor, and the floor looks the same as it did before you put the headset on, and then it just sort of falls away, and you're just like, whoa, and you see London beneath your feet. Oh man, it would be quite incredible.
It would be. This is like that plank challenge thing that you've got. This is like version 2.0 of that plank challenge, isn't it?
It really is. And Richie's plank experience. And I tell you, that is the go-to game when you've got some people around. It's amazing. It's so good watching people on that. And finally, we've been having SIGGRAPH this week, which has been showcasing some different tech and graphics and stuff, and it's had some VR stuff there as well. Now, this is pretty cool, man. Open your mind to VR with this, because these guys, a Boston-based startup, what they called Neurable, yeah, like a neuron. They've been showing off a modified Vive, which includes EEG. What's EEG, I hear you ask me? Well, right, let's get ready for this. It's electroencephalography.
Right.
That's what EEG is. So you have electroencephalo.
That's why they call it EEG, isn't it?
Easy for you to say. Yeah, so you've got these sensors. They're sort of neuron sensors, brain sensors, along the interior of the headset. Actually, of the head strap, the bit that goes behind your head.
Right.
Yeah, and they've got sort of a stickly brick look about them, as if they're a comb. So there's like little prongs, and so they're on the strap at the back of you. So they go through your hair, and they make contact with your scalp. Right?
What?
They touch your skin on your head, and that's so that they can sort of track your thoughts. Okay.
Holy crap. Okay.
This combined as well with eye tracking technology allows you to be able to manipulate objects in VR with no controllers, just thinking.
Wow.
Just thinking. So I found this. I'll put a link to this. This is from upload VR. And one of the guys who wrote this article, Ian Hamilton, he went and tried this. And he said, this is unbelievable, mate. So he sat with this headset on, and then they did a training session where a group of objects floated in front of him. So it's no controllers, you just got the headset on. You can see these objects floating in front of him. A train, a ball, and a block were some of them. And then each time one of them rotated, he had to focus on that object and think, grab. Yeah, he had to think the word grab in his mind. And when he did, they came to him.
Wow.
So when he thought one of them would rotate, so the train rotated, and he thought he'd say grab, and that train would then come to him. And he said he did it a number of times for several objects, and all were successful. Then he said that there was a test, and he was told to think of an object, and then he just had to think of one of these objects, and the correct object was picked out that he thought about. So what from a set of objects, and he said that every time it worked. He said there was a sixth time it didn't quite work, but that's because somebody talked to him, and so his mind, drifted.
Wow!
But every time that he was focused, it totally worked. Wow. And we've got some information from Neurable themselves. This is how they describe this technology. They say that Neurable is debuting Awakening, which is a VR game preview made in partnership with East Studio Future at SIGGRAPH 2017 in LA. Awakening is a futuristic story reminiscent of Stranger Things. You were a child held prisoner in a government science laboratory. You discover that experiments have endowed you with telekinetic powers. You must use those powers to escape your cell, defeat the robotic prison guards, and free yourself from the lab. The game allows you to manipulate objects and battle foes with your mind and is played entirely without handheld controllers.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, again, it's pretty simple what they're doing. It's just a matter of you seeing these objects. He describes playing I don't know if he's playing the game or if it's more of a tech demo, but I think he's in the lab and he's being attacked, and he sees a keyboard, and he looks at, because he's got this eye tracking as well, so he knows he's looking at the keyboard. He thinks grab, so he doesn't have to think keyboard with that because he's looking at it. He recognises that your eyes are kind of like the mouse, if you like. That's the cursor.
Yes.
Looks at the keyboard, grab, then manipulates the keyboard to float, and then can strike the bad guys with the stuff that's lying around in the laboratory.
Wow, that's incredible.
And I suppose it's absolutely amazing, and that's again, I know I probably say this every week, but it sounds to me like the start, the proof of concept of something that could explode, like massively. So this guy said that he was actually quite amazed. He said he was in shock after doing it because he couldn't believe that he'd done this with his mind.
I bet, absolutely. I bet just doing that, actually kind of doing the, looking at it. I just had the way you were talking, I was looking at the YouTube clip that's on the link that we'll send, we'll put in the show notes, but just doing that must just blow your mind, because
you feel like Superman, wouldn't you, or something?
Exactly. Just going, right, okay, I want the train, and then suddenly the train, but that must, oh wow, that's incredible.
Imagine using this, not for a game, but I'm sure there'll be many game ideas that could be amazing. Imagine this for, in VR, for a UI. Instead of having to faff about with controls, you're presented with a menu screen, and you just think. You're just like, right, that. And you, in a split second, you're doing whatever you wanted to do, or you could, probably quite scary, you could text message using this kind of thing. If they get it so that it must understand some kind of patterns to words thing.
Yeah, that would be. I'm just laughing because sometimes what's in my head and what I put in a text message are two different things.
Yeah, you need a buffer.
Need a filter that goes through it.
Yeah, they said where are we here? They said they've got two modes. They've got pure EEG mode, which was that long word that we said before, or I tried to say before. They say that just determines the object you want and brings it to you directly.
Right.
But they've also got another mode that is a hybrid BCI, which is a brain-computer interface mode. In this mode, you can use your eyes as a type of mouse, like I said. So that's the more complex mode, where you move your eyes near the object you want to select, and from there, say what you want to happen next.
Wow.
Yeah, and he said that. Yeah, he says in this sort of penultimate paragraph. In the video, you see me sort of covering my face as a kind of surprised reaction each time the system correctly identified the object I wanted. I was frankly in shock. I didn't expect it to work as well as it did. Both this brain-computer interface and the earlier eye-tracking demo I tried felt like true superpowers.
Wow, that's just
this
incredible.
Company, they've raised around $2 million so far, and they've got 13 employees. And I think that could be just so impressive, and it could be used for just sky's the limit, isn't it? Like tacking on. I mean, I don't even know what you call it, like brain reading. I don't know.
But you know,
mind reading with VR.
Exactly, the tech, the corporate, the gaming applications for this could be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, that you need a buffer. You know, you wouldn't. You'd need a send button. But imagine communicating, writing an email with you just getting it down there. You know, with like having a secretary. You know, it's just you're just like You could write a book. You know. Like a pensive from Harry Potter, this thing could just take what you're thinking and produce either pictures or words. It's quite bewildering that this is the start of something that could blossom into something like that.
Exactly, a book that's in your head, but you've just been too lazy to commit kind of fingers to keyboard. But it's in your head.
You could just think about it.
To start coming to fruition. Put it on while you're asleep and register your dreams.
You could just go for your dreams. That's a bestseller there, and then just edit it a bit, send it out.
Wow, that's just so cool. Awesome, blown my mind as usual, Daz. Literally, this thing will blow your mind. It will just it'll be like scanners if you use it for too long. Right, and on that mind-blowing note, that's about it for this episode. Huge thank you for listening to episode 101 of Gamers of Lost Spark. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at Lost Spark Pod. You can also find us on YouTube and the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community and Xbox One Club. Daz, where can we find you online?
Yeah, you can find me as Whiteomator on PS4, Xbox One and Switch, DazAGamer on YouTube, and at DazWhittam on Twitter.
Fantastic. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback or any questions for us, you can send it to our email address. That email address is feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Well, that's about it. We will catch up with you next week. Bye.
Take care. Bye.